right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of Stones of Faerûn. I am your DM, Windy J, and I lost all the notes that I was going to tell you. Haha, how about them apples? Um, this is our D&D 5th edition epic that we are bringing to you on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. And we have all of our group joining in from all over North America. So, if you wanted to see some details about how this game has gone so far, what our previous 14 episodes were like, then you can go check out the journal and some of the updates for the game on our website, stones.windyjmusic.com. And there is other games that are also on the Windy J Guild as well. DM Faerûn runs a game of Curse of Strahd as well, so you could always check that out on Thursday mornings Mountain Time anyway. It's I think it's right at noon GMT, so that's kind of cool. Last episode for Stones of Faerûn, we were picking up off of a little bit of a battle that had happened between some people who were accosting the Hollow Flags cartography shop, which is Marisol's family's shop. They had captured some thugs and a spellcaster. They also captured a halfling spy who, through all of the interplay that happened there, managed to bring some attention to some keys that Marisol had also found recently in a place inside her own family home that she didn't know existed. After having done some interrogations, they managed to discover a secret cellar underneath the basement, found some items in there that gave some more hints to more questions, and they started to try to solve a few more of those hints. One of them was to find one of their previous group members named Surge and see if they could figure out what had happened to them. They had come up with a few different options for what they could do with these keys, which opened up the basement with some more, with a bag of holding, more like a haversack of some sort that they found in the secret cellar with some extra things in it, and a letter that ostensibly was written by Chob, the leader of the Zentarum in the area, or at least that's who they suspect it was written by. And so now they're just kind of preparing for themselves for departure from Melvont. In doing so, Oddom and Larkin went to go see if they could help Oddom find some spell components, particularly a pearl, 100 gold pearl, so that Oddom could start identifying the plethora of magical items that they have been able to procure for themselves over the past couple of weeks. And so Oddom finds out about this fellow by the name of Theodorus, who lives on the outskirts of Melvont. Larkin joins. They see a entryway to this a tunnel that goes deep underneath a hill. Oddom also found a well that he was told if you drop things down this well, then it will be the way that you can communicate with Theodorus. And in dropping things down, particularly a message, if I remember correctly, saying, "Hey, do you have a pearl?" or something to that effect, they discovered and they had a look and found that there was some sort of a creature that was at the bottom of this well, and took the message in to some unknown location underneath the hill. And being the curious people that they are, both Oddom and Larkin went down the well to find out. In the process of doing so, Larkin wild-shaped into the shape of a spider, went into the tunnel, and in going into the tunnel, discovered that there was another chamber where there was a number of mechanical animated things there. And while after having discovered it, decided that he was going to leave. Unfortunately, one of those mechanical other things smote the spider, and Larkin was returned to his full-sized self, but now wedged into the very small corridor that he used to get in there in the first place. Plenty big enough for a spider, not so much so for a drow. And that brings us to tonight's episode of Stones of Faerûn. first things first, we're going to do a tiny little adjustment here to our people who are logged on. We have life is kind of causing some challenges, so we're going to have let's see here. See if I can do this properly. Let's get this guy in there. All right. Theoretically, this should make all of our buttons line up properly. Why didn't that work? Why didn't that? That's really weird. Why did that not work? Let's do this properly. Come on. All right, so Oddom. There we go. That's better. Oddom. You and Larkin are stuck in the bottom of this well. Larkin's stuck in a slightly precarious location. We're just going to bring this up to you guys right now so you can see it. Right there. And for those of you who aren't in this lovely place, I don't think you guys can see a whole heck of a lot on this map at this point. So, let's bring this to the rest of the world as well. Let's see here. That is this one right here. Alright. There we go. So, where you are right now, Larkin is stuck inside this very small, very narrow, basically no more than 1 foot in diameter tunnelway that gets into this main room. Oddom, you're stuck at the bottom of this well. So Larkin can see this, and Larkin has just been returned to his drow form from his wild shape of a spider. And Larkin's going to have actually, Oddom, you can see Larkin. All you can see is suddenly his feet appear in the tunnel, and they're kind of dangling there, and it's quite obvious that he's wedged there.
Wouldn't he be facing me? As he was trying to get out?
Yeah, you're right. Good point. His face would definitely be towards you, and a little bit of wide-eyed look in his face at the moment.
I just kind of look at him like, hey, what the hell's going on? Because I don't know.
He's going to say, well, being a spider wasn't quite strong enough, apparently. One of the machines hit me. And with that, he's going to, now, according to what Larkin sent us in advance, he said he was going to try and wild shape his way out of this situation again. So I think he would try to wild shape into, I'm going to suggest probably, I'll say a weasel in this case. What, you weasel? Would he do a weasel?
Does a weasel have a climb speed? He needs something with climb.
He needs something with climb. Alright, this is why I usually have you guys know your characters. Somebody help me out here. What's a good creature that he might choose to go into that would have a climbing speed?
Another
Clearly
spider?
he'll do spiders.
He could do a spider again. What did you say?
Ferrets can climb.
Ferrets can climb?
They have a climb speed?
I don't know if they'd have an official climb speed, but ferrets themselves can climb.
Okay, well, that's good enough for me. So Larkin decides he's going to wild shape into the shape of a ferret. So you do see his long white hair kind of drape around his slightly startled face, and it just all kind of starts to get furry and shrinks up, and he ends up being a couple seconds later. You see this ferret come scurrying towards your feet, Oddom, and looking towards the inside of this well. The ferret kind of looks at you, right straight in the eyes, and then looks up and looks at you, looks up, kind of as if saying, "Are we going up then? Is that what's going on?"
Let's try.
All right.
No.
What are you gonna do to try to get out of this well?
Yeah, that's a great thing. I'm not certain. So I'm gonna make my only choice that I can think of right at this moment. I'm gonna try to Misty Step 10 feet above where the rope is and like catch the rope when I fall.
Ah, marvelous. Okay, so
Which I'm certain will have no ill effects for Oddom.
This would be. I'm going to give you a choice. I'm going to give you a choice between a dexterity check or acrobatics. Not acrobatics, to be a straight dexterity check. Will also offer you a sleight of hand check because you have to be super fast with your hands.
I'll do sleight of hand.
Okay.
Easy.
All right.
Easy
so
pick.
I'm going to get you to roll for me a sleight of hand check, please.
All right.
All right. Hand is up. Oof. Alrighty.
Okay. Great.
That is
Great.
Well. All right. That's it. We got to start some way, shape, or form. So you Misty step up, but immediately begin to fall, and you'd grasp for where you think the rope is, but it wasn't there. It must have been hitched up a little bit further higher up in the tunnel or in this well on some sort of a rock once it snapped, and you start plummeting. You're falling. You're falling. Do you still have another Misty step you can go with?
No.
Alrighty, then you're gonna fall all the way to the bottom.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yep, I'm super aware.
Let me check this out. Slow loading on Larkin, but that's okay. Get Larkin in the right spot anyway. Alright. So this will play catch up here for us in just a second. There we go. Okay, so Larkin, what can you do? Would you do anything, I guess is the other part of it.
Just as a reminder, Larkin is currently a ferret.
Yes. But
so I don't think he's going to be a whole lot of help here.
Well, and he doesn't have a lot of things that he can do for you at the moment. I was just making sure that there wouldn't be something else that he would just simply do. And I'm not getting that message right now. So, you're going to fall. That's all there is to it. You're going to fall, and here comes your fall damage.
Yeah.
Well, this is around 30 feet you're falling.
Yep.
So
it's actually exactly 30 feet.
Yeah. Alrighty, let's see where we go.
Cool, yep.
So you take 12 points of damage. Are you unconscious?
Yep.
Aw, shnikes.
Yeah, no, I'm dying at the bottom of a well.
Alright. Okay. Larkin, who is currently a ferret, now sees Oddom just land on at the bottom of this well and completely unconscious. And Larkin's going to say, well, that's no good. Well, that's no good. Step away and switch back. He's going to drop his wild shape. At this point in time, he is going to have to stabilize you or something. So what would he do to do so? I'm just wondering if he's just going to try a stabilization after he drops out of his wild shape, or if he's going to... I should just leave this open.
I'm more surprised that he isn't going to just run to get help at this point.
Well, he sees you unconscious first, right?
Because I don't think he has any, like... I mean, we both started running at the same time up the tunnel. Which means he would probably have to come back down the tunnel.
He would have, yeah. He is... but yeah, he needs to be able to say things. So he is going to cast Healing Word on you. And in doing so...
Okay.
Just one spell level. There you go. 7 points of healing to you. You come back to consciousness and you're completely winded. And Larkin will look down at you, because you're now laying on your back in between his legs basically, and he'll look down on you and say, actually, what's the range on Healing Word? He would have crawled all the way up to do that.
Feet.
Yeah, he would have crawled all the way up to do that then. So he would have,
Cool,
yeah,
cool,
we're gonna
cool,
say he's
cool.
up and out of the well, and he'll shout down the well at you, "Get up!" And you are now conscious, but you need to be able to get up and out.
Oddom is going to yell up, "Go get help!"
You're gonna be stuck here for a bit if I go.
I'm stuck here for a bit if you don't!
He's got rope.
You mean the rope that we used to get down here that's 20 feet too short to
Nope.
get down?
He's got hempen rope. He is
The one that we used to get down the... No, that's the one we used to get down the...
Oh, is that the one?
Well, last time. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the rope.
I thought you were coming down on the rope that was attached to the bucket.
No, we used a real rope.
Besides, this is only a 50-foot rope. Yeah, he's gonna have to go get help. Just... Alright. Be quiet. I'll be back. And then he'll tear off. Back towards the city. Yeah, that's what I thought too, Andani, is that he used the well rope, which broke. But even so, even if Larkin didn't use his hempen rope, it's only 50 feet. So it wouldn't have been far long enough.
All right.
Anyway, whew. Okay, so this gets interesting now. So
And
you
then...
are now stuck in this well.
Yeah, Oddom is gonna press himself up against a corner and cast Minor Illusion, making himself look like a rock. And just hoping for the best here.
Alright, well, and as you cast that, let's see here, we're going to check something out. Let's see here. I'm going to get your roll stealth check with advantage then, please.
Awesome. Yeah, totally something I'm amazing at. Not the worst.
Not the worst. Not the worst at all. Alright, so. Alright, so we're going to leave it there for a couple. Back at Hollow Flag's cartography, we have Indani, Veltris, Marisol, and Roman. Now, as I understand it, you guys were all basically getting yourselves settled in for a long rest. Was there anything else in particular that you wanted to accomplish before that happened, or why immediately after you learned that Oddom and Larkin have gone out of town?
I would have left the door unlocked and checked out the cart to see if they were like selling magic shit or something. But ultimately just gone upstairs, gone to bed.
Okay.
Yeah, and Donnie would have done the same thing, just given sort of one last look around the immediate area to see if they were on their way back, and then gone to bed.
Alright.
Veltris would probably just kind of hang out until they got home.
And
Try and stay awake as much as possible. But if she passes out, she passes out.
fair enough. And Roman is actually at the cart as he's posted in there as well. Still trying to figure out how to play this zither without the bow. And so, Roman, you're going to be the first one to see. It's about 2 hours. It's quite late now before Larkin comes back, and I guess I should adjust that. It is now definitely nighttime. And like there's no light in the sky. It's actually, come to think of it, the moon is just waxing on, so it's still only a dimly lit night for that matter too. But you see Larkin kind of huffing as he gets back, and he'll come straight over to Roman because he'll hear the very strange sounds of the instrument. And goes over to Roman and will say, "Roman, Oddom is stuck in the well, and I don't have rope long enough."
Apologies for the sick voice, but here I am. There is a very audible sigh of disappointment as he looks down towards Larkin as he now putting away this instrument. I told you guys this was a bad idea, but he'll get down from the cart. How deep is the well? How much rope do you need?
And he'll do some quick mental calculations and say, it's deeper than my rope can go, so probably about 60 feet deep. And I've just told him to be quiet.
Okay, how much rope do you have? Because I got 50.
I've got 50 as well, so if we had...
Then we got enough.
Would you come with me just to make sure there's enough strength to pull this dwarf up this well?
Yeah, I'll come with you. Just don't fall in.
Indeed. Indeed. And so the two of you guys take off as well? Or are you going to do anything before you leave?
Well, I'm making sure that the instrument is put away and that I have all of my things. I'm not gonna bother the rest of the group at this point, being as I'm pretty sure most of them have already gone to sleep.
Okie doke. So you guys start making your way out of Melvaunt, following Larkin's direction. Autumn, back to you in the well. About 5 minutes after you cast Minor Illusion. How long does that Minor Illusion last, by the way?
Let's see. 1 minute.
1 minute. Okay, so you're going. Yeah, you've cast Minor Illusion, but now you're back to your dwarf self. Are you just going to keep on recasting it?
Yeah.
It is a cantrip anyway, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so you can just keep recasting it. About 5 minutes of waiting, of being there, trying to stay as still and quiet as you possibly can. One of those little creatures comes in. It's really strange-looking creatures. Like, it's got two boxes, with a little stick for a neck, and by sticks I'm talking like metallic sticks, like aluminum, very soft metal for that matter. And then two more sticks that are coming out for arms, and two more sticks for legs. It seems very gangly, and it comes into the bottom of the well with you. And it is carrying a letter, and it puts it into the basket. And then turns around.
I believe I crushed the basket.
It puts it in the baskets, like in the remains of the basket.
Okay.
And then it turns back around and goes back in. It's very small. It easily fits into this 1 foot tuttle that it was using. But it goes back into the chamber that you know is there.
Can I read the note from where I'm sitting?
Not from where you're sitting. It's kind of folded up and it's got a seal on it.
All right, I'm gonna like snatch it up as quickly as I can and get back to my hiding spot then.
Okay. It says, he who looks for pearl, 125 gold in the basket.
125?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Great. Just gonna put that in my bag for now and just gonna wait.
And so you wait. And you wait. About almost an hour, because Larkin booked it. He basically dashed the entire way, and he's now dashing back with Roman. You kind of hear from Larkin. Autumn, you okay? Autumn.
A hand just kind of pops out of the rock and like gives like I'm here. As it goes right back in.
Okay, and the dancing light goes down there to illuminate you, and yeah, he's still down there. Look, watch for the rope. And a couple seconds later, Larkin, you and Roman, you guys quickly tie your rope together. You actually put a little bit of a harness on one end because you have enough length now that you can do that. Get really careful about how you have tied said rope. Drop it down. So Autumn, you can now put yourself into this little loop that they put into their rope. And
Oh,
Larkin,
Autumn's just gonna start climbing.
okay. So
He's not waiting to put a harness on.
okay, fair enough. So if that's the case, then Autumn, roll me an athletics check, please.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, you are comfortably able to climb yourself up and out of this well, with Roman and Larkin holding onto the rope at the top end.
I think we would probably actually be pulling him so he gets out a little faster.
There you go. So you now have a very interesting. You now have the man that was in the well, or the dwarf that was in the well, is now out. So I know I watched that dice. It looks like the 19 is right beside the natural 1. And I was very much watching that. Anyway, so it wasn't. You guys are now all out of the well. Larkin's going to say to you, Autumn, why were we out here again?
I wanted a pearl.
Oh, right.
Oh.
Oh,
As I just kind of like collapse onto the ground.
but well, we can't. I don't think this is gonna work, is it?
I did get a price. What happened there?
Well, I had a chance to take a peek inside what obviously is a laboratory, but one of the servants he kind of says very not really certain what to say, what to call it. One of the servants is well, apparently it doesn't like spiders. I now know that, but I only found that out when I was trying to come back out, and it hit me pretty good. When I get hit in one of my unique shapes, if it's hard enough, I just turn back into myself again.
Right. Did I get a good look at these things?
You gotta look at
Like,
the one that
would
came
I
up
be able
beside
to
you.
make a check to like see if Autumn knows what they are?
You could. Yeah, it would be an Arcana check.
I've read a lot of books.
Yeah. Wow, that was a journey. Okay, so, you're particularly familiar with these. These are obviously animated creatures. You've heard of some other arcane individuals like artificers who've created them, but you've also seen a couple of wizards create these kinds of things as well by using some fairly powerful enchantment tools in a way that these particular creatures tend to have one, maybe two directives at all times, and that is it. And they just exist to perform those directives.
Right. So I don't think it was intended to be an aggressive move. The more I've thought about things, I think that the one that attacked you may have just been following orders. Possibly pest removal or something else.
And Larkin
Intruder?
will say, it doesn't have a humanoid face, so it's tough to determine. So I must take you at your word. And my greatest apologies to Pug, for whom I'm probably murdering Larkin's character, but you get to fix all things when you get back. So, in any case, Larkin said, so we're not going to get a pearl here. And he gestures to Roman, who is got the very significantly disappointed expression on his face at the moment.
It's quite visible even through the mask. Yes.
So I did get a price. It's a little more expensive than I was anticipating, though. So I'm not entirely certain how
Well,
I feel about that.
The only other option I can think of is perhaps we can try again tomorrow, but perhaps we could consider using the front door.
Did we find the front door?
Yes, there was that tunnel I was pointing out to you earlier.
Oh,
on.
the tunnel into more darkness without any signs of life.
I assume that there must be an entrance at the end of it.
For all we know, that wizard locked himself down there when he created it.
It's possible, but we don't know. What I do know is that this is not conducive for anybody with your girth or mine to enter from, to try to convince somebody of something else.
Can I ask a question
Sure.
to both of you?
Adam just kind of looks because he was waiting.
You saying that you think it's a good idea to enter the domain of this unknown wizard of unknown strengths so that you can get a pearl.
I said nothing of the sort. I said he gave me a price, and I assume it would work just as it has been so far. You leave it at the bottom of the well, and stuff happens.
Then what was the point of going down the well?
I saw something weird. I wanted to see what it was.
Well, if you have a price and the well is still operable, why don't you just drop the coin and get your pearl so we can go home?
Because it's 25% more than I was anticipating. So I do not have the funds to purchase a pearl.
How much more do you need?
25 gold more. It seems aggressive.
Are you gonna haggle?
I don't know how I'm going to get in contact with this wizard man, and I don't really want to pay more and more money for responses at this point.
I think then it's probably in your best interest just stick with the price they gave you, even if it's more than what you wanted.
I mean, it's also more than what I actually have. Is the big problem right now. Anyways, I assume we are headed back to the shop then. Yeah.
Do you want your pearl? I can give you the rest of the funds you need.
I mean, I don't entirely want to put that much financial burden on you.
I don't exactly have a lot to spend on right now.
I would be more than willing to do this. I will pay you back, obviously.
That's fine. It seems your pearl is quite important. I don't know quite what for. I just know that it's for spells. I know spells are expensive. And I know that some spells are quite powerful. So, whatever it's for, I hope it's going to be useful and not the gag like that staff.
Hopefully. I hope some of the stuff we found is more impressive than that. Though, I did learn some very important techniques out of the staff, mainly doing with sound and how it reverberates through the weave. It's out, and Oddom just kind of looks, sees your disappointed face, and is like, "Oh, we need to shut up now."
Yeah, Roman will give Oddom the 25 extra gold that he needs, and asks him if he needs a way to get it down there, since apparently the bucket is quite destroyed.
So my plan was currently to climb down.
And Larkin just immediately reaches out and grabs your shoulders. No.
The rope's there now. It's safe.
No.
I would still advise against it.
All right. Well, then how would I get? How do we get this down?
How deep is this well? 60 feet, right?
60 feet, yeah.
Okay. I will summon a mage hand.
Aha. Okay.
And it is quite visible, even to Oddom, because I don't have that rogue feature that makes it invisible, because I'm not a rogue. So.
Right, so this wispy hand appears and sits there above the side of the well with its palm out as if saying, put the money here.
Yeah.
Alright. And I put the money in the hand, and I put a little note on it saying, for the pearl guy.
Okay, and I lower the coin and note as far as the mage hand will go, because it's only 30 feet, but that's fine. 30-foot drop shouldn't be too hard on it.
Alright.
Might spill a little, but hopefully it's not too bad.
Alright. And so you now have your mage hand has now dropped the coin and this little note down into the well.
So-
After a period, now you're going to stay there to see if there's an immediate response.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch, yeah.
So about 15 minutes would go by though. Is there anything you guys want to do in the meantime?
Anything interesting happen while we were gone?
Roll a perception check.
No, I'm asking Roman.
Oh, okay,
Oh.
see.
Let's see. Were they around for the conversation with Surge? Or had they already left by then?
They have they'd already left before you found out what was going on with Surge.
Okay, because I think I was told about what happened there, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't there for the conversation, but I think I was told about it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe?
And for by consideration
Okay.
of you and the comfort level of your voice when you're not feeling well, you can simply synopsize
Yeah,
it
I'm
if
not.
you want.
Yeah, I'll just tell them about what happened there. I'm sure my sick voice is coming through the microphone quite well.
It's got this really cool rumble to it right now, but I also don't want to interrupt. So
Yeah, no, it's fine. I just think of it this way: I sound more like Roman,
There
or
you
how
go.
I envision him to sound. A low, gravelly voice.
there you go. All right, mentally noted. So Roman relays to you kind of what's going on with Surge, and that Surge is
Alright.
intending on finding for you guys or procuring for you guys some form of passage, but also planning on going out to sea as soon as he can, so that he can maybe get a beat on things and keep his eyes out for anything that is related to the Avila family.
Sure. The other thing I wanted to bring up here, how do we get the pearl out of the well? I'm pretty sure I have to climb down there anyways at this point. Or someone else does.
This is the one moment I wish I had Spell Sniper, because then it would extend the range, but it does not. So someone's gonna have to climb down, I guess.
Well, and Larkin will look to you both and say, that wispy hand that you did, can you do that when you're holding onto a rope?
Let me check.
I mean, I don't really know you that well, so I don't know how dexterous you
Yeah.
are yourself.
Dexterous, not
again-
at all, but, you know.
I don't think the well is inherently dangerous.
It's not the hole that scares me, it's the sudden stop at the end.
But we now have a rope going all the way down to the bottom.
Do you not still feel your bruises?
Oh, I certainly do. They're helping keep the adrenaline going right now.
Okay. Question
think
for
it
you,
is-
Wendy.
Yes.
Mage Hand has a somatic component, which means that's hand wavy stuff, right?
That's correct.
Do I need both hands free to be able to do that?
In my rulings of somatic, you just need to be able to move at least one hand to be able to do it.
Okay, then yeah, I can go down 30 feet and cast the spell and then grab the pearl. Yeah, I have the ability to do that. I just wanted to make sure I didn't need both hands, because I can hold onto the rope one-handed. I'm strong enough to do that at least.
Alright. So Larkin then turns to you and says, well, if you're willing to do that, I might be able to help. Provide you
How
with a
is
little
that?
bit of assistance, if you will. And he taps it, kind of just places his hand on your shoulder, and you immediately feel a little bit of warmth go through you that you recognize has it actually kind of makes it makes you feel as though you have a little bit more clarity about about your fingers and about your dexterousness, and for that matter pretty close to anything else you wanted to do.
Oh, what spell did he just cast?
Guidance.
Ah, shit. I could have done that one, but that's fine. He did it for me.
All right. The 15 minutes goes by, and are you asking Larkin to keep his dancing lights in a way that you can still see the bottom? Because it's just
I
at the
can
edge of
see
your
just fine. I have dark vision.
You have dark vision?
As an ASMR, yes.
I didn't think Aspen.
Yeah, we're all dark vision peoples.
It's also at the edge of your dark vision, though.
Yeah, but when I'm climbing down there, I have 60-foot dark vision, so
Are
I'll be
you-
able to see the bottom just fine.
Oh, okay. So you're already climbing down, and you're just kind of waiting, even though you
No,
don't know
not
what's
yet.
going on?
I should be able to probably hear something, maybe.
We
I
wait
don't
to
know.
see movement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well then.
Then
I
we
think
make
Groma would be
reactions.
perceptive enough, maybe.
Okay. Well then. Let's
Or
get
somebody
you...
here would be perceptive enough.
Let's get Roman, because he's the one coming here to save people's butts, to roll a perception check with advantage then, because you have help.
Cool. I can do that. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
do that.
And so in 15 minutes, you do hear a little bit of a piece of gravel move in the bottom of the well, and it kind of echoes its way up to your ears. And so you look down, and you do see this shape, this box-like shape, kind of move and bend, and it seems to bend down for a second. And you can kind of hear some coin moving around. And looking really carefully, as it moves and leaves, you see that it missed one of the coins. You can see the glint of it coming off of a dancing light that's hanging above your head.
Well, that's not great. It didn't place a pearl?
Not yet.
Oh. Okay. Well, not a whole lot I can do, but I will inform the rest of them that it missed a coin.
That could be very bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's not a whole lot we can exactly do about it at the moment, but...
A couple moments later, it comes back, and yeah, it starts rummaging through some of the rubble of the basket. It picks up a lot of the rubble of the basket as well, and manages to pick up that coin as well while it was doing so.
Nice. I'm assuming still no pearl.
Still no pearl yet, and it goes back into
Okay.
its tunnel again.
Alright. Well, it picked up the last coin, so hopefully things are fine then.
And just looking up one thing here real quick for you. It comes back after a couple, and it has a it drops another a piece of parchment.
Okay. So parchment. I guess then, since the rope is up here, I will tie myself into the harness
Okay.
of the rope. And ask the other two to
Anchor it.
not
Done.
drop me.
All right. I'm gonna get you to roll athletics with advantage because you do have help.
Nice. Athletics I can do. Athletics I can do.
Yeah, you can. Perfectly. You belay your way down about halfway down the well without any hassle, and you just kind of twist your hand a little bit around the rope, and it feels firm. Something about the hemp rope makes it a little bit more comfortable to actually grip yourself in. It's not abrasive by any stretch, but it also is the friction is strong. And you cast your mage hand and you pick up the parchment. Is that what you're doing then?
Yes, unless there's another thing below the parchment. Yeah, I'll pick up the parchment.
Yeah, you pick up the parchment, and it looks actually like the creature has actually cleaned up all of the chunks of the basket, and while doing so was also cleaning up found this extra gold piece. And so it looks like a bare bottom of a well after you pick up the parchment. And you lift it all the way back up with your mage hand before you start pulling yourself up and out of the well. And so Oddom, this spectral hand, appears out of the well holding a piece of parchment.
I open the piece of parchment.
And Roman, you immediately start pulling yourself up out of the well.
Yes.
So the parchment reads, "You owe me a basket and your name."
These are two things I don't want to answer for. All right. About how much would it be to replace most baskets? Or is he asking for an actual new basket?
Well, depends. There's a variety of different ways you can get a basket. They aren't expensive. You could probably find one for a couple of copper. But I mean, you don't exactly have one in your back pocket right now. Or do you?
Do we have any baskets in the cart? I don't know what's in there.
No.
You would have.
No, we have like
crates and
crates.
things like that.
Hmm. And I'm assuming it's a little late to buy a new basket.
It's deeply dark.
I'm gonna pull out. I have a little bag of sand. And I'm gonna dump out all the sand, and like, does it feel like it would replace the basket enough? Where I could like argue for it.
It's a bag of sand.
Well, it's a bag now. I'm gonna empty out
it
the
was
sand.
a bag of sand. No, I'm. Hang on a second. Let me just.
Unless it's a very tiny bag of sand.
It is
then I
a
will
very
not be
tiny
dumping
bag
it
of
out.
sand because it usually comes in a scholar's pack. So think like change pouch kind of bag size. Oh, there might be one at the shop.
All right, I'm gonna write another note.
Okay.
Going to get you a new basket, Pearl Man, and I'm gonna put a coin and just kind of drop it into wrap a coin with that note and drop it in the well.
What kind of coin?
A copper piece, because this is just
Okay.
me giving a message. I'm not trying to repay it or anything.
All right. Then you guys make your way back into town.
Hmm.
All right.
Guess so.
Literally, the first basket I'm seeing, I'm gonna try to buy off someone.
Well, okay.
It's a little late to purchase a basket at the moment,
Are
but
you gonna do that in the morning, or are you actually legit
No,
gonna keep
right
your eyes
now.
open? Roll
Right now,
perception.
oh boy.
I'm getting this goddamn pearl. God
No,
damn it.
does not seem like you are.
So
I mean, I can get real aggressive here.
what you're realizing is actually being rather aggressive is Larkin and particularly Roman's intention on ushering you directly back to the shop. They're actually walking beside you on both sides very closely and directing your eyes forward regularly. Roman's exhausted of you, or just exhausted, you can't tell. So we're gonna say you guys get all the way back to the shop, and you turn in for your long rest then? Question mark?
Roman is.
Larkin will as well.
But I might guess well.
Okay. Alright, so you guys all turn in for your long rest, and now everybody achieves it. Marisol and Donnie and Veltris, you are the first ones to wake up, though. So we're going to shift our gears now over to the three of you. So first thing in the morning, what is it you guys are wanting to do?
Nap time.
And Donnie would probably just check to see if everyone got back okay, and then start looking for something to do for breakfast, I guess.
Roman, are you sleeping in the shop?
Unless I have any reason to not, most likely yes.
Okay. And Autumn?
I'm sleeping on the cart. It's a
Okay.
comfy place.
So, Indani, you've kind of learned to check for Autumn at the cart anyway. So, you are
It's
able
true.
to locate everybody. Roman is snoring. Larkin has this strange hissing sound as he's sleeping, but he is still definitely deeply asleep. Autumn is asleep, but lightly so.
Okay, especially given that we've got, friggin' sawmill going here. And Donnie is going to assume that they got in very late and will not wake them up.
Okay.
Although she is definitely coming up with some questions as to what in the hell happened.
Veltris, what are you doing at this point?
Coach should probably try and help with breakfast, but other than morning ceremony, she really has nothing planned.
And for sure, you are helping with breakfast. You've also got the assistance of your retainers, particularly the young retainer whose name totally escapes me. At the moment.
Yes. Anasa.
There you go. Helping you out along with that too. Marisol, as you wake.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. As you wake, what are you doing?
Oh, probably would have woken up, done some stretches and cuddles, and then dumped out the gold that she found from her in her that place in the cellar. Divvied it up between 5 equal ways at this point in time, and then scrawled a note for addressing Chob, looking for which she was intending to leave on the cart, then headed downstairs to check where everyone's at.
Okay. Well, and on your way down the stairs, you will have heard some things from the kitchen, and you'll be able to immediately tell that that's Veltris and Vanessa actually doing some work in the kitchen, probably preparing for everybody.
Walk out and wave to the both of them. Good to see you back, Anasa. Wasn't expecting you so soon.
It's good to be back. How did you sleep?
Well enough. I totally forget. Did we filled Ultras in on what happened, right?
Yes. Yeah, Veltris knows.
Veltris the
Okay.
character, Veltris the player doesn't.
Veltris the player
Oh,
should
okay.
know that basically what had happened was need to procure a naval passage on the Moon Sea to go south, which is where they think, where the group is kind of determined they think is the general direction that Marisol's brother and sister, at the very least, may have gone. Certainly the brother, anyway. As it appeared, the information they were able to find was that somebody had stowed away on a ship, or they think somebody stowed away on a ship by way of being packed in crates. Basically being smuggled out, if you will. and
alright.
and the general direction that the ship was going was south.
Alrighty.
Continuing on. Oh, sorry.
I'll say, breakfast should be ready here shortly. You want to see how the others are doing?
Yeah, I didn't see Oddom and what was the elf's name? Larkin come back last night, so I was gonna go see if they're alive, I guess. Thanks for breakfast. I'll be sure to send everyone up in a minute. I'll head downstairs next.
Because Indani was actually also helping with breakfast, she will pipe up at the mention of Oddom and Larkin and just sort of mention that she had seen Oddom sleeping soundly in the cart and found Larkin and Roman just like completely out of it, dead to the world, asleep. So she just left them where they were.
Marisol's like taking a half step downstairs when she hears that, and just calmly says, "Oh, thanks," and grabs some plates and sets the table.
Sorry, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I forgot. I'm still getting used to the mute button on this headset. Anywho, Autumn, you'll wake up now after a light rest. You got your long rest, but it wasn't the greatest sleep. You're a little perturbed about what had happened. That you weren't actually able to get that pearl. You know it's that close. You just have to go get it now. But you wake.
All right. I'm gonna stick my head into the store, yell, "I'm out to go get the pearl. I'll be back." And I'm headed out.
And anybody gonna interrupt him? Or is it you're just gonna let him go?
Marisol's gonna rush to him and, well, Marisol's like vaguely hearing this. Mom's senses are tingling, and then rushes to the nearest window and calls out, "You're taking someone with you, right?"
Autumn's like halfway down like the corner, and he's just like he kind of pauses and just waits. Like he kind of shrugs, like, "Huh?"
I
Marisol
thought that was the whole deal last night. They were going to see a magic man in a well about a pearl.
At that, Marisol straight up just climbs out the window and runs up after the door.
That was scarily impressive.
I was gonna say, and Donnie will sort of look at Felch and be like, "I'm going to go make sure that she's not going to murder him, just to be safe." And then she will follow.
Marisol glowers at Oddom, and I somehow managed to blank in the middle of what I was about to say, and just gives him a stern look. "You're not seriously running after this ridiculous idea of a magic man in a well. You're not going alone at any rate."
I'm not a child.
Doesn't take you to be young in order to be something like a child.
I'm certain I'll be fine by myself. And I try to turn around and start walking off.
Well, that is too bad for you. At the very least, I will be accompanying you.
All right, I don't really care. You're free to walk with me, I guess.
Well, I was under the impression that this was something that was taken care of last night. That was your whole reason for leaving.
Yeah, stuff happened. We may have broken a basket, and I need to replace it.
Marisol looks helplessly at Indani, throws her hands up, and grumbles magic, and says to Nani again, you stay with him, just make sure he doesn't get into too much trouble. I have to do some stuff before we leave tonight.
And Donnie will give Marisol a knowing look and be like, I will do my best to keep him out of trouble.
Marisol heads back to the shop.
Veltress, you were kind of in that area as well. What is it you're planning on doing with all this hullabaloo happening?
You're gonna have to give me a quick refresher. My brain just decided to cease functioning.
That's okay. So, Marisol basically just went to go and accost Oddom and make sure that he did not leave without assistance or without company at the very least. Indani's agreed to do that.
No.
They're all doing this
The
out
word
in the street.
there is supervision.
Supervision. But they're all doing this out in the street, and you were left inside the building.
Well, I mean, she'd probably just stay back and continue to help get breakfast ready for when they get back.
Alright. Fair enough then. So,
'Cause I can't really.
and then, so Indani and Oddom, you guys are going to tear off. Oddom, I'm going to get you to roll an investigation check looking for a basket. Okay, so you find a basket that actually has it's been repurposed into a flower pot, and the person who owns the building that this flower pot is at is just kind of opening up right now. In the process of asking for said basket for said flower, they tell you that this is one of their favorite flowers. This particular type of rose, and it's a nice rose. It's just a yellow rose, but it's it's the full bush inside this basket for that matter too. She says, I will part with it for a silver.
All right. Hand a silver over.
All right, so you hand her over a silver, and she kind of sighs. Says, I didn't think you'd go for that, but silver's a silver, I suppose. I can always grow another. Takes the silver and says, help yourself.
Do you want the plant? I'll let you keep the plant.
And she looks at you just with bewilderment. Who is
And
this
Donnie
person?
is going to grab Oddom by the shoulders and be like, we will find another basket to purchase that is actually for sale. I apologize, madam. And then basically try to start shoving him away.
She says, here's your silver back as you start walking away.
I've already paid!
Indani, are you gonna
All right.
just push him away from the silver?
Oh no, she'll reach back and take it and apologize again, and then continue shoving him towards like a shop, like the shops or something. She'd be like, stop that, stop that.
Alright. Indani, why don't you roll an investigation check to see if we can get something better out of this.
Can I give him some help? Because I'm not having him try to buy random people's like flower baskets.
This would be the advantage, except it's now a team thing, so it's just gonna be your straight roll at this point.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Investigation.
Okay, well. It's not great, but
Might be...
you know what?
There you go.
Hey!
Yeah. So you are able to find a basket which somebody charges simply 2 coppers for. And it's a good sized basket, maybe a tiny bit larger than the previous one that was in the well, but still small enough that it'll fit in the well without hassle.
All right. I'll buy it.
Alright, 2 copper. You guys
I
make
give
your
him
way...
a silver and I get change.
Okay. Sounds good. You guys make your way back out to the well then. So it's a bit of a walk to get out there too, right? Let's see here. The best bet now would be to say Well, you're going all the way out to the well, so you're gonna tie the well or the basket up again using the rope that ostensibly you guys left there, or did you guys take it back? Roman, did you guys take your ropes back with you?
I would have taken mine at least
Okay.
if they need it. I mean, they can definitely try and wake me up. But
If I had known that, I would have bought rope as well.
Okay, well then we'll just say that you
Otherwise
got the
this
rope too.
basket's not getting down there.
Yeah, we'll throw.
does Oddom not have his own rope?
No, because I don't have an like I have no like I'm a scholar.
Oh, the Scholars Pack doesn't have rope,
That's
right?
right.
Nope.
So we'll say
The
that
only
it was
backpack that doesn't.
another,
Or sleeping stuff.
Yikes.
We'll go with another. We'll go with the silver for the or sorry, another 5 copper for the rope. So you end up spending a total of 7 copper just to get this replaced. Okay. All right. So you get yourself some rope, and you lower the basket down. You putting another message. In it
I
as
also
well?
I'm putting a piece of copper in the basket with a note saying, I have replaced your basket. I would like the pearl, please. Pearl Man.
All right. So you lower the basket. Explain to Indani that generally speaking, you've had to wait about 15 minutes. And keep your eyes open down the well. And sure enough, that strange mechanical looking creature appears again and pulls the note out of the basket. It kind of does a pause and has a really good solid look at the basket, but then then disappears down that little tunnel that you know exists there, and comes back and provides you, and it drops something else in the basket, and then leaves.
Pull the basket up.
And in it is a small piece of parchment.
Open it up.
You still owe me a name.
No wonder
Pretty
this
fat.
took you so long last night.
It's mildly infuriating.
What does he want with a name?
I don't know. I don't trust people with. Wizards are someone I do not trust with names.
Nor should
Generally
you.
speaking. All right. Write Simon on a note and like drop it back down with the basket.
Alright. Alrighty. Let's see here. Just give me 1 second. You guys, Indani and Autumn, you gonna have talk it all while I'm trying to figure out what's gonna happen next year.
She's just frustrated by this whole thing, so she's probably going to pull out her playing card set and just play a solitaire type game while they wait. She's only here to supervise and make sure he doesn't do something stupid, and so far he's giving a fake name to someone in a well, so she's not super concerned at the moment. If anything starts happening from the well, then she'll pay more attention. But yeah, right now she's just like, you know what? I hate everything about this right now. It's like slapping the cards down on top of each other.
Autumn
Alright.
is oblivious to the amount of hatred.
And Kate. There. See if it loads this time. Alright. Yeah, it's not really loading all that great. I love it when that happens. Let's see here.
Just hit it with a hammer. It fixes everything.
It does. Except violence and technology don't tend to be good bedfellows.
I beg to differ.
Alright.
My dad had a moment with his laptop that it was freezing or whatnot. He smashed his hands down on it as hard as he could, turned it off for like 30 minutes, turned it back on. It was perfectly fine.
That's hilarious.
Violence is always the answer.
We in the IT field like to refer to that as percussive maintenance.
Yes.
Percussive maintenance. Oh god, I gotta use that. Alright. Roll a perception check for me, please. Either one of you, Indani or Oddom, or both of you.
I assume both of us will, because I assume I'm not good at this.
Perception check, correct?
Perception check, yes.
Whee!
Alrighty.
I'm
You did better than
hyper-focused.
I did. Too focused on smacking those cards down.
Alright. Alrighty, I gotta do something. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, okay, cool. You guys are particularly aware of some passersby on a pathway that's a ways off. Nobody seems to be giving you much mind at all. Particularly Oddom, you can see this. See a few people. They kind of, one of them kind of looks to you and waves, but that's pretty much it.
Did I build a well lair?
And
It
about,
seems pretty pretty workable.
about 5 minutes later, you notice the creature comes back to the bottom, and leaves something in the basket again.
Pull it up.
All right, pulling it up. You see a piece of parchment that seems a little bit more bulgy than usual.
All right, I open it up.
All right. Opening it up, inside the parchment, wrapped tightly in it, is a pearl. Easily a 100 gold pearl. And a message. And inside the message, it says, "I've asked the Red Wizards never to return. Please leave and do not return."
All right.
You also,
be like,
you
all right,
also,
got the pearl.
you open it up a little bit further, and it says, "It doesn't matter how many tieflings you bring. It's still a problem."
All right.
Does he read this out loud?
Nope.
Am I hearing this? Oh, okay.
If you ask, like, Autumn's not gonna like hide it or anything.
Well, unless he has some sort of reaction to it, she's just going to assume it's a "here's your pearl, thank you, goodbye."
Yeah, that's kind of how Autumn's reading it right now.
Okay.
All right.
He might have a small, like, there might be an instance where he looks like, huh? And then he just kind of brushes it off.
Okay.
And I roll perception to see if I catch that huh moment.
You would go for an insight check on it.
Okay. Well, that's the same thing, so that's fine.
Oh, that's good.
Whee!
Man, those.
Fuck.
It just looks like he's reading a letter.
Fair enough.
He shrugs and.
I
pulls
want
the
to point
pearl
out,
out.
Autumn's also not like hiding his emotions at all either here.
All right. Well, then if that's
Like, I'm
the
not trying to
case,
hide anything.
You'll see the shrug and you'll see the huh, but it doesn't really seem to have a lot of value attached to it.
Nope, fair enough. So she will not ask.
All right, you guys make your way back to town then.
Yep.
She will insist upon it once she sees that he's holding a pearl. Like, Can I-
Autumn's fucking skipping.
which
He's
is
so happy now.
totally fine. But yeah, as soon as she sees he's got the pearl, it's great. Let's go.
All right. So we're gonna shift back to Marisol and Veltris, and now Roman, who will definitely be awake after a couple more minutes, I'm sure. So, anything in particular that you guys would like to do? Larkin is, by the way, here. He's awake now too, but Larkin is mostly just trying to observe and see what kinds of people you are. So we'll just leave it like that for them.
I would have left some food for Roman, and a small note saying Zither needs a whatever the hell the thing it needs is, and just left him be to sleep for the most part.
Can you repeat what's on that note? Who
I
needs
can't
what?
remember the fuck. What the hell is the thing that like
The zither.
The
Your
zither.
instrument
Yeah.
needs a bow. You
Thank
suck.
you.
Here's
Oh,
breakfast.
okay.
There we go.
I don't know if I would have been playing it loud enough for everyone inside to hear, but it definitely would have been.
I came
maybe
out
at
and
least
saw you
audible.
playing
Oh,
it, okay?
yeah, that's fair.
Brilliant.
I think I described it last session as there seems to be some sort of knowledge there. It's just either quite distant or just, been a long time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but Marisol doesn't have that background information, so
Yeah.
she just hears it like not sounding great.
No, it probably doesn't sound too great, but it's not like when you are like playing a violin very wrong and it's actually screaming at you kind of thing, but definitely not great. Excuse me.
So, Marisol, are you doing anything else? Because they're going to be gone for a bit. They're going to be gone for just under an hour. Or actually, probably just over an hour now that I think about it.
Well, my party then would have been just straight up just leaving a fucking sign in the window of the shop saying, know you're watching. Come get your wow, I literally am just blanking on fucking words tonight. Come get your booty or something along the lines of loot, and left it in the window and left like a C in the corner, hoping that it'd draw a Chob out, because at this point I literally just want the stupid dragon corpse out of the wagon.
Ah, okay, so you're leaving the dragon corpse in the shop then? Is that what your plan is?
Well, I mean, as far as is in Marisol's head at the moment, the idea is to try to like get up, like just tie up all the loose ends before they leave, and then like if not today, then the next couple days from Melvant, because she's hoping to get on a boat pretty soon.
Okay. Anything else anybody else wants to do before Indani and Oddom get back?
After getting everything prepared and whatnot, if those that are here don't need help with anything, Veltris is just gonna go kind of pray, meditate, and stuff like that.
Okay.
Just waiting for anything to happen.
All right.
Smoke weed every day. Boy, I will destroy you.
Alrighty. Alright, so then, Roman, you haven't woken. I suppose you haven't really woken up yet, have you yet?
Roman?
Yeah. I don't think you've woken up
Um,
quite yet. So, this is good. Because we're going to take an opportunity here. So, Roman, you need to tell me if you are wanting to have your dreams shared out loud now, because we've been doing them kind of privately, but we can not, if you would rather.
I don't have a preference. I know that most of what happens in the dreams is confusing anyways.
Okay.
So it's not like the other party members will have any any of the other players really have any idea as to what's going on, regardless. So
Fair
if
enough.
they hear it, it's fine for me.
Okay.
If you prefer to do it this way,
It doesn't matter. It was more for your preference than anything. So, we're going
it doesn't matter to me.
shift gears just a tiny little bit then. Oops, that's the wrong one. And you are having a super deep sleep.
So,
I apparently am.
Yes. And inside your super, super deep sleep, let's see here. Where is it? Where did it go? Here we go. Okay. All the notes all over the place. So as the darkness takes you, you enjoy this very deep sleep. You kind of hear some strange twangs and plucks and ziths of this strange instrument. It's still kind of echoing in your ear. And then the ground around you once again appears to you not as natural terrain, but as though it is a giant map upon which you stand. Immediately, you take in your surroundings. You do see the large body of water that you're used to seeing on this map immediately before you. And immediately around you, you see 6 mahogany ponds. 2 of them look slightly translucent. I'm going to get you to roll a perception check for me from within this lovely dream.
Perception check.
Perception
Okay.
check.
That was not meant to be with advantage, but
That's okay. The first one is what we're gonna go with anyway. Okay.
alrighty.
So you turn to see the same creature that you have seen in your dreams many times before. The familiar silvery hair, framing the riverstone skin and silver eyes, with the small, strange, almost tattoo or birthmark like ruby colored along her chin. But for the first time in any of your visions, she's not actually looking at you. She instead seems to be studying the map that you are standing on instead.
Is she looking anywhere in particular?
Roll an insight check for me, please.
Ooh. This is supposed to be Rumwin's flagship trait. Let's see how well he does. Not great for the first time.
It was enough.
Oh, cool.
So she's obviously, when you look to see if she's looking in one particular area, she's obviously worried about something. And as you try to follow her gaze, you look off to the distance, and you see that same rook that you saw weeks ago when you first started having these visions. It hasn't been too many weeks, probably only a couple of weeks for that matter, maybe less. But that rook was a lot closer to you the first time you saw it. You're obviously quite a distance away from it now.
The rook was on the that island in the Bay of Flan, right?
That
if I remember correctly.
Yeah, she's
Cool.
looking at that particular rook right now. And still pondering it, she opens, as you look, you can hear her voice. It's our duty to serve our father. And as she's now, you look back to her, and it's obvious that she's pleased that you saw what she was looking at, and still has this expression of worry and concern. He sits on a throne that previously belonged to another. He shared with me the duty he holds to maintain that station, but something is lost to him. I know not what it is, so you and I will seek it out. But I sense we are not alone in the search. Do you sense it?
I think it depends on what it is we're searching for.
She kind
The
of
last thing I needed to find, we didn't exactly find. So
she kind of nods and her furrows her brow. I've only sensed it since you agreed to this duty of protection. Can you please tell me what you have sensed most recently? What you have seen? What you have experienced most recently?
Well, if excuse me.
What you could do, Roman, is you could say, just kind of tell me how much you reveal to her of what you have been doing, or what you have experienced recently.
I would reveal most of what happened in the last place we're in. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but
in Mountain
Home? Yes, I would specify on the stuff about the amethyst, on how we never found that.
Okay.
And that the main not priest guy, the guy who was helping us, Dariel, I think was his name, right?
Yep.
I would give a general personality for him, because I don't trust him, which is probably a fair thing.
Okay.
And I think I would speak of the situation with Jorge.
Okay.
I don't know if I would reveal too much about what else we've done in Melvant, because, well, at this particular moment, Roman doesn't have any seeming reason to trust this woman, although there is that familial feeling from her.
Right.
But yeah, I think he would keep some of it to himself, but he would give general synopsis.
Would you say that he would skip over some of the details of some of the things that were uncovered or found in the shop?
He would not specify any items, but he would say that there was something found within the shop. Yes.
Okay. If you were to say something was found in the shop, she would ask specifically what that was.
What did we find? We found what? A bag, a sword, and a set of armor, I think.
Okay.
And I think there was a note, but I don't think I ever got to read the note.
She kind of nods. She's still very much thinking, very much considering. And you've seen this kind of a face before. It is the same kind of face you've seen some of the other military people in your home country when they're very much trying to ponder the next move in a strategic game or even in battle. It's
That's definitely a face Roman would definitely know from himself, then.
very much so. And she looks to you after doing some more map study and says, "You are my eyes and ears. Protect your pawns, but keep your wits. Something turbid awaits." She pauses, looks back at the map, and then looks back at you. "Oh, and get rid of that dragon. It will bring undesirables." She winks. As she winks, you come to consciousness.
I wanted to ask her a question, but that's fine.
Oh, wait, go ahead. Let's go ahead and do it. Maybe you could do it as part of
Yeah.
that full conversation.
Yeah, because she kept looking over towards the Rook.
Right.
I still don't know what's at the Rook, other than it's as far as I understand, an abandoned fort.
Okay.
I want to ask her what I should expect at that fort once I get there.
Okay.
Because she can sense things. I can't, and I haven't been there, so I can't be the eyes and ears for her yet. I just
Right.
know that she sees things that I can't.
She's looking at it and turns to you and says, "It is something connected to our father's predecessor."
And I don't think this was revealed to me directly yet. I guess then I'll ask, you keep referring to our father. As far as I understand, my father is an advertiser for my mother's jewelry store. I'm assuming this is a different father you speak of.
Let's see here. Right. She looks to you smiling. And she stretches her right hand forward, wearing a gauntlet. Palm is facing you. She looks at you as you regard her hand and nods. And then that's when she would say, "You are my eyes and ears. Protect your pawns, but keep your wits. Something turbid awaits. Oh, and get rid of that dragon. It will bring undesirables."
Yeah.
And you wake. Roll a religion check.
Oh boy, this is intelligence. This is not my thing. Or maybe it is this time.
It is this time. Immediately something, as you wake up, it's the last image you see is her hand, her gauntleted hand, palm facing towards you, and it clicks right there. It's the hand and the symbol of Torm, the Just Father.
Okay. Okay. And I'm assuming then, since he knows this, then he knows the predecessor
With a 17,
through.
you would probably know the predecessor, yes, and that the predecessor's name
Okay.
was Tyr.
Yes.
You
Okay.
would have even heard some stories of approximately a little over 100 years ago, how there was some great disturbance amongst the deities, and in that time, Torm took over the lead position in what is known oftentimes as the Triad, or the three gods, who basically rule all of the good aspects of the world. And so Torm took over from Tyr.
Okay.
But you recognize that symbol immediately as the symbol of Torm.
Okay.
And you're awake in
Okay.
a somewhat comfortable location of your choosing in Hollow Flag's cartography.
Definitely not a comfortable position. He's definitely sitting in one of the chairs that's down in the basement. That's
Okay.
down in the first floor.
There you go. So for everybody else, him sitting in this main floor on this chair, he chortles awake.
It would definitely be probably something like waking up from like a nightmare kind of thing, where it's just like you snap awake and immediately sit up.
And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause us right there for a quick intermission, for me to go say goodnight to my boys, and for you guys maybe to consider what you're going to do next, and how you're going to do it. So we will be back in just a moment. So, where we've left off, Roman has just woken up from an interesting dream. Autumn and Indani are on their way back in to Hollow Flag's cartography, where the rest of the party is currently located. What are you guys doing?
I'll head downstairs, probably hearing like a clatter or something from Roman moving in armor, I'm guessing, and look to him. Oh, good, you're awake. What's some food for you? And if you're awake enough, could use some help starting to board stuff back up.
Sure, I can do that. He clearly
Yeah,
looks
I'll
like
be
he's
right
very much
back. I have someone
not
at the
there in
door.
the present.
Okay.
Oh,
Sorry, go ahead again, Roman.
okay. Yeah. Where did I leave off?
He
Oh,
looks something.
Yeah, he looks very much almost as if he's like not completely there, but still kind of knows what you're saying to him.
Mask on or mask off?
Definitely on. There are strangers about.
Okay. Marisol will go to head back upstairs, but hesitate on the first step and step back into the room. Did you have a long night with the Chaos Twins?
It was definitely interesting. That was probably one of the weirdest interactions I've ever had with two people ever.
That's saying a lot, given your, well, dreams and profession, but thanks for going. I think Oddom and Donnie will be back shortly, so back when they get back and you're in the night.
Wouldn't cause any more trouble.
In fairness, we were attacked first, so.
That's not what I meant. I'm talking about the man within the well. Odom seemed to have become quite impatient and caused a little bit of damage that he's now paying for.
Why am I not surprised? Again, goes to step up, but then remembers something and peers back around the stairwell. I'm gonna need your help with the cart. I think we're just gonna have to leave it since apparently the Zentarim are utterly uninterested in me unless they're sending death threats. So if we could drive the Dragon Corpse out of town and just let it be there until whoever wants it finds it, then probably the easiest way to deal with it at this point.
Yeah, I can get it out. Probably best we do it sooner rather than later.
This afternoon, maybe? Though I don't know if Odom is using the cart as a study right now.
Well, as long as I can get everything out of it, with the exception of the corpse, I don't particularly care about the rest of it.
Alright, ready? Come find me. I'll be boarding for now.
Alright.
Heads back upstairs, finds some nails and hammer and some wood that I'm assuming will like to have been piled in the alleyway or something, and we'll go about boarding the place up. Not so much as like a, well, kind of like to make it look abandoned in all honesty, just because she doesn't want another break-in. So if it looks like a hobo shack, then hey, most people will want to come steal shit.
Wendy, if you're talking, you might be muted.
Doesn't look like he's muted, but yeah. Oh, there he is.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to get used to this. Okay, so, Veltris, what are you doing at this point? Are you back? I guess, are you back yet?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Night is be back. She'd probably finish up her meditations and whatnot, and then start trying to help Marisol with whatever she needs.
Okay, doke. Then, not long, as you guys are starting to board things up, Autumn will have returned with Indani, and you guys will see that everybody's kind of going around boarding up the building at this point in time. Have you actually done anything with the wagon yet, Roman?
I would have pulled out all of the non-dragon items and put them, since I believe they're all in crates, I would have moved them inside the shop. But otherwise the cart would be left untouched at the current moment. He would be helping Marisol board up the windows.
Okay. So all the non-dragon items are going into the shop. The dragon corpse is staying in the cart.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Okay, so Autumn, you see that as you approach the cart, which is probably one of the first places you go, right?
Mm-hmm.
You notice that
I mean,
the only
wasn't
thing
he
left in
there?
there is a dragon corpse. That everything else has already been moved someplace else.
Alright. I'm not gonna panic. I'm gonna assume we did not get robbed, as everyone is outside currently. I just kind of like
Marisol.
look to the nearest person.
Marisol pop around the corner carrying a dustpan and shoving it into the alleyway. Oh, dwarf, we moved your shit inside. You can take over the back room if you want to use it to do whatever magic shit was worth the pearl.
Sure. You need any help?
At this rate, just getting all of this, I guess for you, not junk, but for me, junk, out of the space is all I'm looking for. So just let me know when you're done and we can sell something.
Autumn like whips out his book and I cast Unseen Servant, and I just kind of command it to like help Marisol. It's real vague on that command. It's gonna help as best it can.
That could backfire.
So
It's, gosh, it's invisible too, right?
it is.
Yep.
So
Oh my
Marisol,
goodness, why?
as you are holding up a plank and trying to pull out a hammer and trying to reach around to get a nail from like you got a bunch of nails that are kind of in a pile. One of the nails just kind of floats up and holds immediately where this unseen servant seems to think that you're going to be hammering, and it actually happens to be okay. So something is holding this nail right in the right spot. And that it
Nice.
continues to hold nails up in the right spot, sometimes passes you aboard, ends up being actually quite helpful, even though you have no idea where it is.
Marisol decides to not question it and just remains prepared to kick it if it drops something on her foot.
And it doesn't. It is actually very dexterous, apparently. And Autumn. Anything else that you're doing?
I'm identifying everything in that back room.
Okay.
I am there for as long as it takes.
Alright, I need to look up the identify spell here real quick. So I need to know if you do it once for every
I can do
object.
them one at a time, 10 minutes.
One. Oh god, you're gonna be at this for a long time. Okay, so
Yep.
yeah, you're gonna be at this for like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You could be at this for like over about 3 hours.
For a couple of hours, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you guys are all gonna try and tidy up the building. Autumn's gonna do all of this casting. Comfortable with saying that you're just gonna keep on doing things, tidying things up, putting things where you think they would be good for storage, locking things up, making sure that that plank effectively covers the entrance to the secret cellar. All of those things, you're gonna spend the entire morning doing that kind of stuff.
morning with that. Then afternoon, Marisol is taking Roman just to like a nearby hill, like maybe a mile away from Melvant, leaving the wagon and riding the horses back.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. Then if that's the case, we're going to throw out a whole bunch of things that you guys are going to uncover. So let me make sure that we put it up on the screen so y'all can see what's going down. Let's get you guys all back in a comfortable spot. And there we go. And you are going to start seeing some interesting things. There we go. Alright. So let's see here. You're gonna start with this one. So one of the things that comes up that you identify is this. Is it showing to you guys? It's supposed to, oh no, I have to hit this button still. Yep, there we go. So you get Charlatan's Die. You get a, come on. Ooh, slower than molasses. Guardian Emblem. You also get this. This one's fun. These are all things that were uncovered in the wagon to begin with at Castle Vathar when you first met Indani and Veltris. And go. And you already knew about the Candle of the Deep and the Instrument of Scribing, which is, I believe, what you were playing around with, isn't it, Roman?
That was what I was playing around with, yes.
Yeah, so now you, if that's the case, you're probably keeping that Instrument of Scribing. So I will make sure it's in your journal as well. But if you, I could just put things in your journal as you guys have them too. There's also a Lock of Trickery that you guys had already previously determined what it was. And slow, it's slow, it's slow. There we go. There was a lot that he had identified here. This one's kind of fun. And then, of course, the Staff of Bird Calls at the end of all this as well. There we go. I think you guys now have seen everything that was originally in the list from Castle Vathar. And now I think the only thing that's...
Just as a quick thing, just because I want to make sure I'm getting my stuff right, is the horseshoes... I actually don't have the horseshoes anyway.
Horseshoes of Speed?
Maybe I'm missing some. Yeah, I'm not seeing those. I must have missed them.
Okay. Yeah, horseshoes are... the horseshoes were in there for sure. There's a set of 4 shoes. They're fixed.
And then is the gauntlet that we found, the Guardian emblem?
Yes, that was in that list too. And so it's an emblem, symbol of, in this particular case, it happened to be a symbol of, who would this be a symbol of? Hang on a second, I had that decided.
Was it the Guardian emblem you're talking about? The the gauntlet or whatever?
Yeah. I believe that it ended up being the emblem of, gosh. Well, I'm going to just change it anyway, and I'm going to make it the emblem of Tyr. Which is not unheard of considering where it came from anyway. Makes sense. So, Yeah, it's Tyr's emblem, which is different than the gauntleted hand. So it's not really a gauntlet per se. Actually, hang on. I said it was a I told you guys it was a gauntlet.
That's what I have in my notes. That doesn't mean
Then it's
like
then it's definitely
it's
Torm's
exactly
symbol.
what you said.
Yeah, then it's definitely Torm's symbol.
Okay.
If that's what I said, then that's what it was. I just didn't want to make it like blatantly
Alright.
obvious, but apparently I made it blatantly obvious. So hey, why not? And let's see here. Yeah, so there's those. Also in the
I think
handy,
the next set is much smaller.
yeah, in the handy haversack. This one I might be able to just actually tell you straight out. There was the short sword was a +1.
I actually don't know if Marisol would have handed those over for identification
Oh,
purposes.
that's a good point.
They were my dad's, so no.
Okay. So what else was there that was missing? What are the other things that I should have covered for you? Are these the things that
I
were from
have
Mountain Home?
I think so.
Okay.
I have a magic book,
Oh yes. Okay.
and I think that's the only like magic thing that I needed identified. from
Right.
that
Right.
set.
Right. No, there is.
I guess
there is
that
a wand.
amethyst as well.
The amethyst is not magical.
Cool.
But there was a wand, and of course, the book, which the book is a. Oh, I have to look at that one real quick. Wow, pulling out all of my sheets all over the place. This will take me a couple to find it because I can't remember where I put my Mountain Home stuff. So just bear with me here for a second here, guys. Alright, so let's get up there and over here. Alright, where did it go? Where's my notes? I'll find that out here for you guys, but you have all these things, so you can start distributing them to people that you would want to distribute them to, or what have you. Or Autumn, you can explain to people if that's what you want. Are you going to explain to everybody what these things are?
I would assume I'd go through it.
Okay.
I don't know if we want to do that in character. Seems like a lot.
I think it'd probably be better just to add a character to decide what goes where.
Sure, that's what we'll do then. Okay, let's talk it out of character for a couple while I'm trying to find this last piece of information here for you.
So literally all of this is pretty much useless to me. So by all means, have at it. I'll try to maybe be a bit of an arbiter if there's dispute.
I was gonna say the majority of this is fairly useless for me as well, I'm pretty sure. Although, given her, criminal background, Indani might be interested in the charlatan's die. Just for the sake of what it does.
Is anyone interested in... Okay, I'm just going to ask and go through the list here.
Perfect.
Horseshoes of Speed seems like a good idea to keep around, yeah?
I mean,
we
we're trying
selling
to
the
sell the
horses?
horses, though.
We're going to get more horses, I would assume, at some point in the future.
I guess the question then to ask is, Beltris, are you going to be using the Find Steed spell that you get, I think, at 5th or something? Because it'd be pretty good to put those onto that horse.
Ooh.
Probably not. I have some other plans with Beltris that will be happening.
Okay, so we could keep them as just decorations. I'm fine with just holding on to them because it's not like horseshoes are going to take up much space on literally anyone.
All right, I'll put that in the probably going to sell pile. Roman is the only one who I think would use Ruby of the War Mage.
What is Ruby the War?
It lets you use your weapon as a spellcasting focus.
Oh, Does that basically like what negates the need for like Warcaster for any reason other than getting like con save advantages, which I already have?
Looks like it.
Would that work better for Veltris though? Because does Veltris need Warcaster in order to be able to be casting spells and not have to be holding on to?
Veltris, I think, always has a free hand with a bow.
Veltris has a longsword.
Oh,
Isn't she a sword and boards?
Yep, I'm
warrior?
confusing loadouts and people. I am very sorry. That is a good question. Veltris,
Yes.
you want it? Ruby of the War Mage?
I mean, sure.
Okay.
She can take it.
Yeah, it allows you to keep both of your weapon hands on your longsword and still cast spells.
And doesn't cost a feat.
Yeah.
Tom's ointment is pretty good. It's just a like extra strength health potion.
Is
Yeah.
it single use?
It's so we'll
1d4
have to ask
plus
our
1.
GM,
One
but at least
okay.
2. And they
Yeah.
heal 2d8 plus 2.
Yeah. which
They
is
stop poison and cure all
Yeah.
diseases.
I would like to hold on to that, since I'm theming Marisol's healing as more like naturalistic stuff versus magic.
I think we want to keep the Helm of Comprehend Languages just because that's a good spell to have on an item.
I don't know who
Yeah.
would use it, but we can definitely keep it for now.
Oh, it's pretty easy. You just like stick it on someone when we need it.
Is it?
And just like
Oh, it
have
doesn't.
it in our
Oh, it
backpack.
doesn't require attunement at all. So.
Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
well,
It's just
yeah.
it's something we put
Here.
on when we
Wonk.
need it.
You go talk to them.
Mariner's armor gives you swimming stuffs.
Can't wear it.
So it's a light. GM. Oh, it's leather armor. Okay. So it's leather armor. You have swim speed equal to walking. If you start your turn underwater and you're unconscious, you start floating to the surface. Any
Person
takers?
here that would wear it would be Indani, and that's up to her.
It's true. I'm not sure if it's not any better than what I currently have.
Do you have
probably
leather
wouldn't bother
armor?
with it? Yes.
That's the exact same.
Then
Do I?
it's,
Yeah.
then it's
Yeah.
it's leather armor with bonus.
Oh,
I mean, but like, why not stick it on her? Especially considering we're
Yeah.
about to go out sea.
That's
The
true.
water,
So
yeah.
that is true. Okay, fair enough.
And with your dice rolls, you might need it.
I mean,
But to be frank, I might need it too. I'm in heavy armor and have
Uh,
even way low dex, but we'll see.
yeah. We got a wand that lets you entangle.
Larkin might want it.
We'll keep
Yeah.
it just in case. The Guardian Emblem.
I think
the
I
symbol
am.
of
I think.
Tyr.
I think I'm taking that for Roman,
Okay.
Sorry, that's a
since
symbol of
Veltris will
Torm.
most likely be using opportunity attacks.
Torm?
Torm.
They said
yes.
Tyr.
I did at first, and because you guys reminded me that it was a gauntlet, it's actually Torm.
Torm.
I thought the item
Alright.
itself was a gauntlet, which is why I was very confused from the
Yeah.
from the start.
That makes sense. I'm
Alright,
yeah,
good.
probably best.
Does
like,
anyone have proficiency with wind instruments?
No.
I have no proficiency with any instruments whatsoever. Although I do kind of like the pipes of haunting. I can't use them.
I don't think anyone can use them.
All right, to the cell pile it goes.
Yep.
Staff of bird calls.
You've already learned the spell.
Yeah, I don't need it. So
Toss
like,
it to the cell pile.
all right, and oil of slipperiness, which I think is just could come in handy at some point in the future. Who knows?
I can hold
Yeah.
on to that.
Yeah, I'm good with hanging on as well. And player wise, I absolutely want to keep the staff of bird calls, but character wise, she's not interested.
Yeah, character-wise, it's kind of pointless.
Well,
even though it would
exactly.
definitely it's like the party thing at this point. End every combat with like
Uh-huh.
bird calls for whatever reason. Yeah, a goose honk.
All right. So we are selling those, and then back to the horseshoes.
What about
Any-
the
any-
dragon grappler?
The wand.
No
I
one.
mean,
That's
called
the
it-
entangle spell. That's the one I think we're gonna hold for Larkin if he wants it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Because I was gonna say it actually could maybe be useful for Indani too, but I don't know if she can.
I also
with
just
the
don't think it's
spell.
terrible to have on hand because it's a
Yeah.
wand and like it's just free spells.
Yeah.
Right, and what we can
And
do
Entangle's
as
not a
well-
bad one, so.
And for all
Sure.
these things that you say that you're probably just simply going to sell, if they end up out of your possession, we can simply retcon it because Larkin's not here. If Larkin decides he wants any of that stuff. So, and that's not a big deal. We can totally do that.
Yeah.
I think we're. I don't think we're gonna be. I don't think we need to sell the grappler. I think it's just nice to have on hand because that's
Yeah.
7 free entangle spells for us, and it gains
Yeah.
charges. So it's like, it's just free casting.
Yeah.
All right.
The
So
last object,
selling horseshoes, pipes, and staff.
the book
I think we're keeping everything else.
is.
Oh yeah, the book.
The book is a tome of understanding. What you know, Oddom, about this particular one is it's got an exceptional amount of power available, but it's kind of out of phase. That you can tell that it's not quite in the right spot. And what you realize is that if you were to spend time studying this book, like a good solid focused amount of time studying this book, you would likely experience not just an unnatural improvement to your ability to understand the things around you, understand the world. It is a manual that increases your wisdom score by 2 points. However, once it's been used, it loses its power for 100 years. And you sense, because it's out of phase, that it's likely got around, it's probably been used around 28 years ago. So it still has 72-ish years left before it becomes useful again.
Alright. Technically, that is a quest item, so it's not like it matters too much on that. Alright. I informed the party of things, and things get divvied out as appropriately as they need to.
Marvelous. Okay. So you've now divvied out all of your lovely magical belongings. Marisol, you also divvied out some of the stuff in the haversack, right?
Oh, we also have a Candle of the Deep. I assume we're selling the Candle of the Deep.
It burns underwater, right?
Yeah,
It does.
that's all it
Well,
does.
again, might be useful for going to be spending time on a boat.
Alright, we can keep it.
That's true. We can always sell stuff after we're done our seafaring parts of things too.
Yeah, I totally forget how much money I meant to divvy out, but
You had 140
I
gold.
will send it in chat when I calculate how much money.
Perfect. You were in it. There was 140 gold, and there was around 80 gold worth of a variety of gemstones. There was also, oh gosh, it's on the screen now. There was also that short sword. It was a plus sword, short sword, or +1 short sword. I'm not sure what your plan is with that particular.
Oh,
item.
the objects specifically that were Marisol's dad's. She's not she's keeping on herself, like they're not going anywhere.
Okay.
The gems, she'll put on the table and look to the spellcasters in particular and say, "Have at it. Know how much your spells apparently cost."
Oddom does not look a gift horse in the mouth.
Marisol, you will probably want to try and drag onto your sheet the things that you're keeping from your father. Do you have all that written down somewhere?
It's a +1 sword, and it wasn't the mariner's armor
There was
from the basement.
no, there was another set of mariner's armor in the cart when you guys first met Indani. So yeah, there's.
Okay,
you
that's
guys now
funny.
have two
All right,
sets
I'll
of
stick it on my
bandages.
sheet then.
You also have a potion of greater healing. And you have a pickaxe. And I don't know if anybody grabbed the hood and lantern from the basement, but if they wanted to, they could.
Is it magical?
It's a hooded lantern. It's more powerful than your average torch.
We've all got dark vision. Though.
There you go. All right. Then with that, you guys can now start making your. We're going to say Hollow Flags is now completely set up and locked up, cleaned, things put in their places. Everybody's had their stuff divvied out appropriately. What do you guys do now at this point? Oh, sorry, Marisol and Roman. You were going to say you said you would have taken Roman out of town. Which way are you going to go? Are you going to go east, north? Well, I get
The gate out which we came from.
Okay, so how if you're going about a mile out? Sure, you can do that. And you can find it's a gentle hill that you can set out on.
Yeah, I just point up at that and say, "There it is." And I'd be like purposely trying to make it obvious and like have him park it like right on the peak of the hill, and then just untangle the horse and slap a note on the driver's seat under the bonnet of the wagon saying, "Job, this is payment for Mountain Home," and then would ride the horses back.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Okay.
When we get near what I'm assuming is like a stable outside the city, I'd ask Roman to pull over and then would sell the horses too.
Okay. Selling the horses. So,
that'd be plus the mule we bought, wouldn't it?
if you wanted to do that, you certainly could. And I'm just going to find my details on what that looks like. Okay.
If there's no objection from the party at large, because like I'm intending to sell like all 6 of the animals we've got.
I think we're good with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not likely we'll be able to take them with us on the boat.
That's not the file I was looking for. Alright, well, we'll come back to that in a couple. For me to tell you how much money you would have made off of that. Actually, tell you what, I'm going to get you roll me a quick persuasion check to see how much money you can get off of the sale.
Well, that's a horrible idea coming from me. Can I do
Well, you
it
have
with advantage if Roman helps?
you can
What are we doing? We're selling horses?
selling horses and going
Yeah,
for a
you want to do
persuasion
it for me?
I can do persuasion. That's fine. Am I getting help?
check. Yes, you would be
Yeah.
doing it with
She is
advantage.
standing there menacingly, like being like, "Hey, buy my
Good deal.
horses."
All right. So persuasion with advantage,
Yes.
right? Okay. Good enough. Glad I had
Okay.
the advantage.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, you didn't need it. It was your first roll. Let's see here.
Yeah, but still in that one there.
That's true. Wherever it went to, I can't find it now. Okay, maybe it's down here. Guys, you're making me pull out all of my information. I love it. Okay, so, then... Yeah, one second. Let's see here. This would be. Well, I'll find that later on. You know what? We'll just deal with that later on. How much you sell those for? But I see that 16, and I'll use that appropriately. In any case, so you've now sold your horses, and traveling with all of your magical artifacts in. Where are you putting them all?
Well, they're
Just-
currently all at the house or at
Right.
at the store.
Right.
As for storing them, easy enough for some people to wear them or just put them in their bags,
Yeah.
I imagine.
Okay.
Because, like, I'm not even breaking 100 with the amount of stuff I'm carrying at the moment.
I was
so.
gonna say, since all I really took was the armor, I'm just wearing it.
Well, and for that matter, if you're putting it into that pack that you've collected, Marisol, that haversack, it doesn't increase your weight at all. So if you're using.
I'm gonna keep it in my normal pack,
Okay.
whereas all of my dad's shit is staying in the haversack.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. And where are you guys going then?
I will leave another note somewhere like out of the immediate eye, but at like an upstairs window where I think someone who's like casing the place might look, specifically hoping that Job does so, and say, like, just point blank right on it, Job, go get your loot from a hill mile outside the city in a wagon. Aerosol. And from there, locking the doors, boarding them up, and then going to the docks to wait for whatever boat Surge has organized for us.
Okay. Question for the party. Is there anything else anybody else wants to do before you guys go to the docks?
Oh, fuck. I meant to buy a herbalism kit.
Oh, okay, sure. We'll add that into the mix, and with that persuasion check. Go for an investigation check if you don't mind real quick for me then, please, Marisol. Oh. That was a persuasion. Can you do investigation instead?
Sorry, I definitely misheard, and here's hoping I don't not want it again.
There you go. Okay, that works. Yeah, so you're able to find one without too much hassle. You're able to talk the person down just a little bit too. Okay, so let me quickly write myself a message there that I gotta deal with. This is let's see here. And this is at. What was it you just bought there again? It was a herbalism kit, right?
Yep.
Did you sell? No, you didn't sell the wagon. Okay. Cool. Okie dokie then. So, you guys make your way down to the docks and immediately start making your looking around for. What are you looking for when you get to the docks?
Surge.
Okay, roll perception check. Haha, that's a nice roll. It is a roll that shows to you very quickly without any hassle at all because you know exactly where Surge and the boat that Surge was going to be working on was. That the boat's not even there anymore. The ship's gone. But there is a couple of docks down there. Is still one ship that you recognize as having been there the night before or the day before. And there's a few people who are kind of loading up around it. Or seem to be loading the ship up as you guys approach as well. But the ship that Surge was going to be using and Surge are both no longer there.
curse a little bit in Orcish, and I'll then walk up to the people loading the ship and point blank ask, "Are you going to Sir Legal?"
And now, Roman, you're saying were you supposed to find the guy that Serge was with, and that was the last message you received from Serge.
Yeah.
And so now, if you're going up to those people, you'll actually have found that individual. I think his name was Bill or something. Like one of those random. I'll just pick up a name here. Things. And because he was just a dockhand, for you to find him. And sorry, what would you say to Bill, this slightly yellow-toothed individual?
Oh, sorry, me. What I've said. Ready to set sail for to say that name. The city. We're ready to go as needed.
He said, okay. He said, yeah, the Blue had told me you guys would be coming, so he kind of left a message to Nakia here. This boat, the Foam Queen isn't going please south. It's going westward. It's supposed to be going south and quite a way south, so get passage there without any hassle. And Serge, you said her name, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So apparently, Serge has already talked to Nakia, and it shouldn't be a problem. You just got to go talk to Nakia and introduce yourself, I guess.
I will ask. Well, where's Nakia?
She's that one over there, and you see him gesture to somebody who's just kind of at the end of a gangplank that goes to the obviously a lower level of this ship that is docked here. It's a younger lady, probably around 30. She's got brown long hair. She's wearing brown harem pants. She's got a blue vest, and she's got kind of something about her. Her attire has this extra, almost like a. Oh, I just learned the word for this. It is. I can't remember the word for it, but it's a plate of something that sits on her left shoulder, but only on her left shoulder. And on her left shoulder sits a parrot. He says, "The one with the bird." Thank you, pauldron. That's totally the word I was thinking of.
We'll approach Nakia, offer a hand, say, Marisol de Avila, we're hoping to get passage on your ship to Disterlical or as close as possible.
Okay. She she's kind of barking out orders to somebody right now as well as you approach. Saying, so Love wants it up on the top level. It wants that crate in the kitchen. So put her straight in, right off the top. And I'm sorry, you're Marisol? Is that who you said you are? I got the wrong I got the wrong accent. I got Bill's accent.
Yeah, Bill sent me an instruction.
Okay. So
Bill sent me the instruction. Storm sent me here.
Right. So you're wanting to go south, but you know that we're not going south first.
Look, lady, it's been a long week. We literally just need to get somewhere that's not Melvont. Like, if you're going to the other side of Faerûn, I'm willing to go just so we can, like, leave this city-state.
She kind of laughs as another individual walks past you, who also kind of laughs a little bit. A gentleman who has very dark skin and dreadlocks. Yes, I know what you mean, and just kind of carries on with one of his crates going up into the ship. And this person, Nakia Aquila. You can just call me Miss Aquila or Miss Nakia. But we are going to be going certainly across Faerûn, not perhaps to Waterdeep, if that's what you're expecting. That's more of a land passage. We're looking towards Cormyr, eventually. But we are stopping in Flan first. So, if that is acceptable to you, that is where we will be going first.
I'll look at the rest of the group and shrug. Any objections?
We need to go back there anyways, I
Yeah,
believe.
we have some unfinished business in Flan regardless, so Flan first is fine.
Turn to Nakia. Ready to go, Captain. We can pitch in as needed, but for the most part, we're looking to pay our way on here.
And she says, I apologize if you thought that I was captain. I am not. I'm simply first mate. Captain Faerûn is the one who will be leading the crew. However, how are you planning to pay for this voyage?
Gold?
Gold works. How long are you planning on being with us?
Look, we're trying to get to Thurlegol, and I'm not exactly a naval expert with that, so however long it takes you to get there, we can at least pay for, I'm assuming, half the trip.
I thought we were supposed to go to Procamper. Maybe it's the other place.
I'm totally forgetting which city it is, because I have this stuck in my head that it's to Thurlegol, but if it's for camper, then that's what I meant to be saying.
Well,
Which one was it, Windy? I forget.
The problem is that, and you guys are both kind of accurate with how your characters would actually perceive this, because you're not really sure. Some suggestions said Procampier, some suggestions said Thurlegol. So you're kind of on point. To which Nakia would say, let's start with how many of you are there? And Larkin will say 6. Six of you.
Question?
6 of you will. Let's start with the journey to Flan first, seeing as it's apparent that you all need to go there anyway. And so with the 6 of you, we'll start with 30 gold to get you there. You'll have not the greatest accommodations, but you'll sleep. You'll be fed. Love is actually rather a good cook when we're on the sea. It's surprising. But that should suffice. Do you have 30 gold with you at the moment?
I will dig into my pack and hand over 30.
All right. Well then, welcome aboard.
And Donnie will insist on sharing some of that cost.
I'm going to kind of look at Donnie and be like, I'm carrying around 200. You really don't.
If you insist.
It's party funds at this point. We may as well just get on with this. I'm losing patience already.
30
That
gold?
is fair enough.
And she, at that point in time, Nakia shouts into the ship, "Cleatly!" And shouts, immediately an individual comes, you can hear put, put, put as an individual comes running up. Bearded man with kind of caramel colored skin, about 5'11" almost 6 feet tall, comes to the gangplank that you guys are all kind of met at. Yes, Miss Nakia. We have new guests. Introduce them around and give them a quick tour. So let's give you guys a quick tour. And you guys board the Foam Queen. So he takes you onto onto the second level first. There's an entrance to it from the dock, where they're loading an awful lot of crates, and I've got the wrong characters in the wrong spots right now. But you basically are all entering right around at the very, very bottom of the map, right around here, and I'll re-ping that again here in just a second. Actually, tell you what I'll do is I'll do this as well. So there we go. You're kind of entering right around here, and immediately to your right you see a couple of that Fleetly indicates to you or introduces you to first the outhouses, if you will, the water closets, which there are 2 of them immediately to your right. And as you notice them, you recognize fairly quickly afterwards that there was actually a hole on the outside of the ship. That obviously these exit the ship from the outside of the hole, from that extra hole there. There to your, you see a bunch of crates already set up. You see some chambers to your left. You do see some metal chambers, which Fleetly introduces you to and says, this is not the type of chambers that you would want to be in. This is the brig. Sometimes we lock up really expensive cargo in here. And then he takes you around a staircase to show you to, you see a door to your right. In that doorway, he says, that is Miss Nakia's chambers. The rest of the crew and the rest of the guests, which we'll have 2 other guests with us as well, we all sleep on these hammocks. And he opens up a door, and there's 12 hammocks that are, 10 hammocks that are spread out in this room, along with some crates and places for you to put candles and lights and lamps and books and things like that. It's obvious that you're not going to be sleeping on cots or beds. You're sleeping in hammocks, and they're layered on top of each other. So there's one person sleeping above another person like bunks. And then he takes you back up the stairs to the main level, which on this map, the main level is the top of the ship. So it's not a very large ship. The main deck has ropes very neatly coiled or tied up. And who would notice this? This would be probably Roman would be the first person, maybe Veltris would recognize this as well, that somebody here is obviously very meticulous about how ropes work. And they're all very neat and tidy, and the knots are super tight and clean, and they just look very professional. He fleetly points you towards the door to the bow of the ship, and says, that is the mess hall. That is where you'll be eating. Love will have our first meal in there probably just before sundown. Then points towards the back of the ship to the aft, and says, that's captain's quarters. But up top there, that's the helm. You'll be able to see that. And up at the helm, you see a gentleman up there with kind of copper skin, brown hair. Not really copper as in like tiefling copper, but very obviously bronzed from sun skin. Slicked hair, and what you'd notice, those of you with a higher perception, is there's something unusual about his eyes. And then looking towards the bow of the ship again, to the top level, you see a few more crates kind of set up there, but there's not a lot of stuff up on the bow of the ship at this point in time. And Fleetly motions up to Captain and says, "Captain, more passengers?" The captain steps down to you guys on the main level, and then extends his hand out and says, "Captain Faerûn, and you are?"
Marisol rushes to the front of the group and sticks her hand quickly into Captain Faerûn's, looking very awake and less impatient at this point. Marisol to Avila, we're hoping for passage on your ship to to Flan. Yeah, we're going to Flan.
And as you're now close enough to him, you can see that his eyes, he has regular eyes like a human, but his eyes have a very shiny silver quality to them. They're not, they do have an iris, and they are very shiny. He is around 5'8". He's a little bit older, kind of in his maybe in his 50s at this point in time. And Marisol, pleasure to meet you. To Flan, to wherever you are on the ship, because Nakia let you on. That's good enough for me. And you are, and kind of gestures towards the rest of the group.
For the record, Marisol is still shaking his hand.
And he's just kind of like, indeed.
That's okay. And Donnie will sort of step up and just as subtly as she can, like, elbow Marisol out of the way and extend her hand. Indani Ravenstar, if there is anything we are able to do to help along the voyage, please let us know.
Insight check for me, please, Indani.
Marisol gives Donnie a dirty look before, like purposely extending herself to a full 6'2" height, hand on her hip, and clearing her throat loudly, gestures to the rest of the group. These are companions: Roman, Oddom, Feltris, Larkin, and Inasa. I'm assuming Inasa's with us, right?
Yes.
Inasa and Kester, yeah,
Okay.
would be.
And when she's done gesturing, Marisol takes a piece of hair and curls it around her fingers. So, have you been a captain for very long?
So Indani, while you are, while you're obviously regarding Captain Faerûn with a little bit more intrigue, one of the first things you realize is, unlike every other person you've introduced yourself to, who tends to have a catch in when they meet you, being that you have unusually colored skin and horns, Captain Faerûn doesn't seem to have any catch at all. It's just, you're another person. And Captain returns to you. Oh, I've been on the sea most of my life. I would say coming on around 35 years, I suppose. Captain of this vessel only for the past 4. But on this vessel for quite some time. And by this point in time, none of you, except for perhaps Roman and Oddom, have noticed that Fleetly has simply left you guys alone now.
Oddom has not
Marisol's-
noticed this.
Fair enough.
Marisol's still twirling that piece of hair around her finger to the point where it snaps against her skull. She lets out a tiny ow, and quickly moves her hand away, and says to the captain, "That's so fascinating. It's a very magnificent ship. He certainly is beautiful. I mean, she, as all boats are she's, are they not?"
Well, this one in particular, seeing as she is called the Foam Queen, and his eye is, one eyebrow is very highly raised, very
I unmuted at the wrong time.
unusual, yeah, kind of thrown off a little bit by. It's not a grand ship, but she serves me well, and she is about to serve you well as well. You'll have to excuse me. I do need to finish mooring some lines up here.
At which point Indani will just sort of pipe up and like, of course, but if at some point we could speak, the stories you must have of your travels be absolutely fascinating.
And he smirks.
Marisol blurts out, "Below deck. Maybe even."
Well, I tend to interact most when we're at the mess hall. When love gets done with with dinner, you'll probably be able to find me then. Nakia will most likely take over the helm after the dinner hour anyway. And with that, he says, I don't mean to be rude, but I would like to be able to get underway when the tide goes out again. So, if you've got all your belongings on the ship, go ahead and make yourself comfortable in the quarters down below.
Under her breath, Marisol lets out, "Oh, I'm already comfortable," and then claps a hand over her mouth.
Dottie just sort of gives her a bit of a look and then turns back to the captain. Your hospitality is greatly appreciated, but we will certainly get out of your way for the time being.
Says, appreciated. If you have any challenges, Tleetly has you in hand, but as soon as we're on the water, he will probably be the one you need to go through first.
But what if we want to speak with you? Is that not allowed when we're at sea?
When I'm in my casual moments, perhaps, would probably be best, so that we can make sure that we are safe at all times. Your safety is something you've paid for, to a certain extent at any rate.
At this point, Indani will give Marisol another look. Like, we would not want to be bothering the captain. He is clearly a very busy man on this ship.
Marisol gives Indani a side eye. And for that exact reason, it's only best that we be making ourselves as available as possible to help, no? And turns back to the captain. And believe me, I am more than capable of handling myself. Unarmed, without armor, you name it.
Yes, you're a great fighter. Should we be beset by pirates, your skills will be of great use.
He raises his
However,
eyebrow at Marisol again. And
I believe it is time that we stop bothering the captain with nonsense and let
says-
him get on with his job.
if you're truly interested in learning about the ship and how it works, Fleetly's your man. He is quartermaster after all.
If I wanted private lessons instead with an accomplished sea captain like yourself, would that be available?
Fleetly would be your best bet. And he's smirking now. I wish you a good day for the time being. We'll connect again before we set sail. And he turns and he starts walking back up towards the helm.
Marisol's hands immediately go like straight to her forehead with an audible smack and stay there for a very long moment.
And like standing beside her, and Donnie's got one hand over her mouth, and she is trying so hard to keep her giggles as quiet as possible because she doesn't want to actually like just laugh out loud at the situation, but at the same time she kind of does.
And Roman has his ears covered over to the side.
He's just got no fucking clue what he just witnessed. He's basically one eyebrow raised the entire time. So fucking confused.
Larkin knows what just happened, by the way.
Oh, I'm sure he knows what just happened, but still fucking confused.
Larkin will actually turn to Marisol and to Indani first and say, "There will be time to woo later." And just immediately steps back down below to the main deck, or sorry, to the lower deck.
There's an audible sizzling sound from Marisol's face.
So, what are you guys gonna do now that you're on the ship?
Die.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure Marisol's gonna go find the only corner she can.
Honestly, yeah, Marisol's like going below deck and is just looking for like some private corner where she's going to take like a long nap.
All right. So the most private corner you're gonna find is one of the hammocks in the crew quarters. In there, as you kind of settle yourself in, a young lady comes in, kind of strange, almost like a helmet, but not quite, with some spectacles that are wrapped around her forehead, and hair, that dark brown hair that kind of goes past her shoulders. Kind of looks in and looks to you, Marisol, and says, You all right, love? I'm sorry. You all right, dear?
Um, uh, Marisol, like, uncrosses her arms from over her eyes, first an eyebrow. Perfectly fine, just got a lot of sun.
Okay. If you need a flask of water, I have some. Kungund Wolf, at your service. If you feel start to feel particularly unwell, please let me know before we have to clean up the floors. I do have ways of helping.
Marisol nods appreciatively and then, like, just turns over. I'm fine. Think I just need to sleep it off.
Fair enough. Thank you very much. She exits. Roman, what are you doing at this? Actually, you know what? We're gonna go to Veltris. I haven't heard from Veltris for bits. We'll check in with Veltris. What are you doing during this time?
Veltris will probably offer a hand to any of the ship hands that may need it. Make sure Kester and Anas are get set up good enough and whatnot.
Okay. So as
But
you're
yeah,
doing so,
just basically offering a hand anywhere.
okay. So as you do, so it'll actually be Miss Nakia that you would actually approach about that at the gangplank, and she immediately says, "That would be very welcome. Uh, tell you what, go ahead and grab some more of those crates along the side of that dock there." And she just kind of points out, we're the ones between the green stanchions there. And so you could see a large quantity of crates that still have to be loaded on. Excuse me, that are obviously marked out particularly.
She'll give her an
and your young ones,
She'll give her a nod.
your helpers here.
Yeah.
Are they going to help you out as well? Because that would make a lot more light
Yes.
for us. At this point, Anasta says, you said you have a cook? Snikia said. We'll say, oh yes, love, she's on the main deck right now. Did you want to check in? And Anasa will look to you, Veltris. Would that be acceptable?
Go on.
And she just bounds up the stairs onto the main decks, and Miss Nakia smiles. Okay, and Autumn, you are scribbling, I'm guessing. But is there any particular way that you are doing so?
Autumn is actually going to try to do something. He's going to kind of start asking around how people feel about stories on this boat.
What you're going to gather is that the best person to talk to about stories, for the crew at any rate, is Love. And eventually you find your way trying to find out who this Love person is. And you make your way into the mess hall, and in there you see a green-skinned tiefling. The horns are quite a bit different than Indani's. They're just basically straight spikes up from her forehead, and she's actually got two sets, one smaller nub in front of the larger, longer spikes. Very short hair, red eyes, and she is in the midst of trying to organize all of the produce and foods that they're bringing in at the moment. And she said, and she'll turn to you, and Anas is now in there. It's kind of standing in a corner because she doesn't really know how to get in the way yet, without being in the way. And Love will say, tell you what, I will tell you all the stories that you can imagine, that I know about at any rate, from being on the sea. After the dinner hour this evening, perhaps when Captain's in.
Sure.
All right. And but in the process of doing so, you will also meet the gentleman with the darker skin and the dreadlocks that came on earlier on. Is actually one of the other passengers who's bartered passage on the ship. His name is Jasiro. And another one that you will have met along the way is a halfling, a red-haired halfling named Lineria. And in the process of meeting them, you'll find out that they are both merchants, and that they're bringing their wares that they have created while in Melvant to other locations now.
Sure.
Let's go to Roman now. What are you doing at this point in time?
I am attuning to that item, the guardian emblem. Gonna put it
Okay.
on my shield.
Marvelous. Marvelous.
Since I think it can go on a shield.
Okay. I am going to take a quick moment of pause here because I see that Larkin is now back. And we're just going to see if they're able to join us this evening. In any case, so you're now sitting attuning. Is there a specific place that you would choose to go to in order to do so?
Not really. Just kind of somewhere that isn't next to everybody, but, isn't like hiding away in a corner.
Okay. Well, to stay out of the way of all the people that are loading crates and barrels and things like that onto the ship, you would probably find your way to the upper deck on the bow of the ship, which is kind of
Okay, that's
untraveled.
fine.
There's not a lot of people there, so you can be uninterrupted there without too much hassle.
All right, that's cool.
And you guys kind of get yourselves acquainted on the ship a little bit. Before long, the Miss Nakia makes her way all the way back up onto the ship, and the parrot on her shoulder kind of goes, "Hold on." And Nakia kind of smiles. You don't have to sound like that if you don't want. In any case, he's right. We are all finished up. We'll put out to sea once the tide has settled properly for us, which will probably be just before the dining hour. So if you have anything left to do in Melvant, now's the time.
I don't think anyone has anything to do.
Okay. So you just kind of make your way around, beating various individuals on the ship. Marisol apparently still dying of shame in the quarters. Eventually, everybody makes their way into the quarters at one point in time, just to kind of get themselves settled and understand where who's taking top hammock, who's taking bottom hammock, etc., etc. And as everybody's kind of gathered and getting themselves settled in, Tleetly comes in. This is the first time you've actually heard him say anything at all. He says, "Captain requests you up on the deck, please." And while it's not just the six of you guys in there for that matter, it's also Jasiro and Lineria who are also picking out hammocks in that space. And so, it's a gesture to all of you for that purpose. And
Alright.
you guys all
And
make
Donnie will immediately stop stowing her things and just sort of leave them there and beeline for the stair.
Marisol does a fucking backflip out of the hammock and is right up the stairs immediately after.
They're really excited to see this captain, huh?
Larkin says, rolls his eyes and says, "Indeed."
Saunter on up.
Alright, so everybody now makes their way to
Or is
the
it
main deck.
sashaying?
Well, it depends on how you
Pirates
walk.
now.
Everybody makes your way up onto the main deck, and the captain is on the upper deck where the helm is located. You are all on the main deck. You've kind of gathered around, and Miss Nakia and this parrot on her shoulder seem to be gesturing to you guys that this is where you're supposed to be. Is on the main deck. Don't leave it. Don't try to go up to the helm. Just be here. The ropes are tied very, very well. There are some barrels up there as well, but it's largely open and free for the most part of clutter. There's one table kind of set nearby one of the masts of the ship with a couple of stools, but aside from that, everybody's standing, looking towards the captain. The captain steps up to the rail at the edge of the helm, looks down to you at all, and says, "Well, this is one of the largest groups we've had on the ship for quite a while, so I think it's important that we have ourselves a little bit of a safety lesson. If you look around the ship, you've already had yourselves a tour. I believe Tleatley showed you, and kind of gestures to the group of you guys who are largely standing all together. And I believe that Master Carver introduced two of you, he gestures to Lineria and Jasiro, kind of introduced you already to the Foam Queen. She's a fine, sturdy ship. She does not see much action on the sea, and that's the way we would like to keep it. We would also like to make sure that we keep it such that you do not see any action while on decks. So the best bet for you, unless you are intending on actually becoming a useful help to the crew, is to stay out of the crew's way. You'll notice that this ship has 4 sails. It means that we can move relatively quickly. But it also means that whatever ropes happen to hold those sails in place can cause some serious damage if the wind suddenly shifts direction on us. We've had some problems with that in the past. So please make sure that you steer clear of the crew who knows exactly what is going on. Every meal is served, none of them hot, so if you're expecting a hot meal, it won't happen. But if you, unless of course some of you happen to have a way of making that happen, it will be still some of the best cold meals that you will have ever tasted. Love is wonderful at her job, and he gestures towards the green tiefling that you now all see, towards the back of the ship, towards the bow of the ship, standing just basically outside the mess hall. And she just gestures a wave back. Captain says, "There are very few places that are off limits. One of those places that are only on limits for special people are the ones up here. Is this space up here, the helm. The only people permitted up here on the helm will be myself and Miss Nakia. You should also know that when there is a command given, when there are instructions given, you must follow them immediately without question. If you end up having a question, ask after everything has settled, and then you can be taught why it was done the way it was. But when you're in the heat of an intense situation, simply follow the instruction. I'm always available for conversation after the dining hours, so you can ask me all of the questions you can imagine at that point in time. But the helm is for me, and if it's not my command first, the next command that you should be listening to will be from either Miss Nakia or Chax. They are both one and the same in terms of importance on this ship, in terms, at the very least, when it comes to instructions and commands. Then Quartermaster Tleatley, the following, who will only ever say something when you need him to say something. And following that, it's up to the rest of the crew to kind of guide you through. But it is largely myself, Miss Nakia and Chax, and Tleatley. Are there any questions about the management of this ship at this point in time? Okay, hearing none, I must have done my job well. The only other thing I can suggest is if you have any volatile cargo, any cargo that might go boom if we happen to have too much candle wax nearby, then you need to make sure that that is placed in the other very elite location of the ship. There's only a very few people who make their way into this particular portion of the ship. It is at the bow on the lower decks. You probably have been introduced to it as the brig. The brig is either for explosive materials or poorly managed people. I'm hopeful that the only thing that goes in there is cargo. If you have such cargo, please place it in there. If you do not have such cargo, I appreciate that immensely, because it helps the Foam Queen stay afloat. Our first destination is Flan, and we should be there within a night or two. Thank you very much. You may make yourselves comfortable. Dinner will be served in approximately, and he kind of looks towards the back, and Tleatley just holds one finger up and says, approximately 1 hour. And he looks up to the sky and says, which is perfect, because we'll be pushing out to sea in about 5 minutes. Crew, stations, and immediately people start dispersing across the deck. people pulling in lines. A couple of sails start to unfurl, and the sails completely open up and you see Tleetles leaning out the side of the ship and pushing, and you can feel the ship kind of slide out a little bit and then push towards sea. The sails fill up a little bit, just a little bit of a flutter, and gently the ship starts moving away from the dock. You look behind the back of the ship. By looking off the sides of it, you can't really see through the helm because you're not allowed up there, but you lean off the sides of the ship and you can see Melvaunt slowly drifting away from you. Ladies and gents, you are now on the Moonsea. Anything you guys are going to be doing whilst on the Moonsea? For the first hour, at the very least, before dinner starts.
Definitely storing that flask of alchemist fire that I totally didn't forget that I had until he mentioned the fact about explosives.
Marisol's passing it to Roman as soon as she sees him pulling his out.
Yeah, that's definitely going
Put
in
it
the
in the
place that he
special bag.
designated.
Just put it in the special bag.
Was thinking that, but also do not want to be carrying around explosives in a pocket dimension, so...
I mean, pocket dimension's the safest space for it. If it explodes in there, it will have absolutely no impact on the material plane.
Actually, that's a good question. Have I even told anyone what this thing does? Or did Oddom inform you what it is?
No, Oddom hasn't informed you. He just knows what it is.
Oh, Marcel gives him a look, and like shoves alchemist fire into, Roman's chest, and then goes over to the side of the boat and leans halfway off, holding onto a rope to flip the bird Melvaunt as the ship fades away.
Okay.
Alright, well, if Roman and Marisol are the only two that still have their alchemist fire flask, then he will go and take the two flasks down to the brig and store them whichever side of the brig was designated.
As you lean off the side of the ship, Marisol, you do notice the captain, who is on the helm, take a quick step towards you and then stop and smiles, and then looks back towards the sea again, beyond the sails. Roman, as you're going down, you actually notice another individual also going down to below decks to start moving things into one of the cells in the brig. Let's see here, an individual by the name of Master Carver, tall lady, black hair, very pale skin with darker tattoo-like things, like appearances, lines and shapes across her face. Very bulky-looking lady. And fairly quickly you clue in, this is the same type of creature that was the town speaker, or the court speaker. She's a Goliath. And she opens up one of the cells and says, "You have something explosive?"
If these are what I'm told they are, yeah.
Well, this is the best place. Go ahead and put them in the corner. And the halfling is also walking behind you carrying a crate. I have some things that probably should go in here too. And the Goliath looks way down low and says, "All right, put it in the other corner. Try to keep them separate from each other so that they aren't too volatile." And the halfling nods and looks up at you and says, "Well, hello, handsome." Puts the crates down and exits.
I'll put him in the other corner to wherever the halfling put him.
Okay. And yeah, so you guys, anything else that you guys are gonna do while before the dinner hour hits?
hard explosion of noise. Whoever was going to talk, feel free to go first.
It might have been the lightning on the other end of my microphone. Sorry.
The video is being
Goodness, it's
super
now in the
sketchy.
middle of a fucking hurricane. Marisol's going to spend the hour enjoying the sea breeze, hanging out on the deck, just watching Melvant fade from view until pulling out some painting supplies and just having a time sketching the water and trying to get reflections right.
Great. Well, we are going to move a little bit forward in the journey. So you guys have now continue to watch from your various perspectives. Either you're in the lower decks, and so you're watching how people are working in there. You can see one individual, Tleetly, just kind of tying down cargo, making sure it's not going to shift. He's paying particularly close attention to the ropes. The Goliath lady is also doing much the same. If you're on the main deck, then you keep there watching to see how the captain now there's not very many people on the main deck actually. All Kungund is up there, but she's not doing much more than just kind of sitting at the ready at that table beside one of the masts, and but the captain's got the ship, and you guys look back every once in a while to see Melvant disappear out of view, and the sun is now starting to get pretty low in the west, and so which is kind of the place that the ship is pointing. So you get a really cool little view of Melvant, particularly the long shadows that are cast by the walls of Melvant before you completely disappear. Any of you who were out at Theodorus's Hill, you can easily see it. So it's pretty far away. You can't necessarily see the well, but you can see definitely the land formation that it was. And Roman, if you are ever up on the main deck before you go for supper, while the sun is still up, you are particularly aware of how accurate that map is. The map is definitely scaled, but you definitely feel like you've zoomed in on the map in your dreams. Suddenly you realize it feels particularly clear. The ship, or the captain kind of turns the helm, and the ship begins to face further west, and sails fill out far more, and it kind of almost lurches forward. A couple of you have to catch your feet as it starts to move a little bit faster. And just after that happens, Miss Nakia shouts first of all out to the main deck and then down the stairs. Dinner served? And immediately the crew all kind of tear up the stairs and tear towards the mess hall. They all go in fairly quickly. You guys don't really even get a chance to get in there before you realize that the mess hall is filled. There's too many people in there. You can't get it. It can't even fit. So you wait for a couple until they get their fill of food. And they exit the mess hall immediately, and they go up to the upper deck on the bow of the ship, leaving you with enough space, along with Lineria and Jasiro, to settle in and have yourselves a simple meal. The meal is cured fish and breads and some produce, largely lettuce and onion and carrots and such, built into a kind of a salad kind of thing. There is a bit of a pesto that is made available to you as well, so you guys can spread out the pesto on the bun. You set it up however you wish. But you're now all settled in for dinner. And the only person from the crew that's left with you is Love. Autumn, I'm seeing you cast...
I'm warming my food up.
I see, okay. And as you do so, Love notices. Ah, spellcaster. Do you think you would have the ability to warm something up a little bit more? Perhaps you could help us with having actual cooked foods without causing, explosions yourself?
I think I could accomplish it.
Well,
It's pretty limited, the effect, but yeah.
do all of you work with magic?
I believe it is just me.
I know a few little things, but nothing quite like that.
I think
Most
all of our magics mostly come from different places.
Well,
Or isn't magic at all.
well, from my perspective, anything that's not done naturally is usually magical. Doesn't matter where that magic comes from, it's something I can't do. And so, if you are able to help, and um, Larkin speaks up just long enough to be able to say, I could potentially help you with produce, but not much for along the lines of cooking. And Love raises her eyebrow and says, "Produce." And Larkin extends his hand, and in the palm of his hand, a small plant with kind of jagged-edged leaves um, appears. It says, "You have the ability to use this for flavor if you would like," and offers it over to Love. Interesting. That might become very useful once we get bored of the same bread. Lineria, the halfling lady. Well, I don't do magic, but I sell it.
my magic tends to deal more towards fighting.
Lineria kind of nods. Jasiro, the the fellow with the dreadlocks, says, "Not much for magic. Not my cup of tea. Much better when you can create things with your own hands." Lineria is going to actually look towards Oddom and say, "So, you already cast magic. What are the chances that you happen to know Theodorus?" You guys hearing me okay?
You're cutting in and out of it for me.
That's really weird. I don't know why that's happening.
I can hear you. It's just a little hard to understand what's being said.
Sorry. Hopefully that's better. I don't know why my computer is going all wonky, but it is. In any case, Lineria has turned to Autumn and says, "So you cast magic? Do you happen to know Theodorus?"
Magic is a complicated thing. A lot of moving pieces. Casting is probably the most accurate representation of what I do.
And so do you know Theodorus? Alright, I'm having a bit of a go with my computer here, guys, so just give me 1 second as I try to figure out what's going on. Alright, let's do this. Let's see if this solves it. Alright. Can you guys hear me better now?
A little
Yep.
bit.
Okay.
You sound fun on my end.
Yeah, you sounded fine on mine. It's just every now and then you seem to cut out for
Okay.
just like half a second, and it's just enough to miss part of a word.
Ugh, I
So
hate that. I don't know why it's doing that, but
so far
it's
so good.
crazy. Okay, so in any case,
My only problem is the accent.
yeah. So then I'm just gonna go with it. So the halfling, Lineria, Autumn, she's asking you if you know Theodorus.
I'm debating whether I want to tell the truth now.
Ah.
The name sounds familiar, but I don't recall entirely meeting anyone by that name.
It's just unusual to meet wizards or spellcasters who are dwarves. So I felt like maybe you would know the other one in the area.
No, I'm not from the area.
Oh, well then. Fair enough. After a little bit of having this meal together, the captain does eventually enter. And Love says, "Ah, Captain, I think they've been waiting for you." And Jasiro says, "Actually, I apologize. I'm going to take my leave and turn in for the night. Thank you for the hospitality, Love. Thank you, Captain." And he steps past the captain, and Captain nods and says, "Thank you very much, too." And Jasiro exits. So the captain takes a seat exactly where Jasiro was, and Love presents him with a plate. It's not a glass plate, it's kind of like a bamboo plate. With food already completely prepared for him. "Ah, thank you, Love." And Love says, "So, Miss Nakia is at the helm at this point?" And he says, "Yep, shift's changed." And he starts kind of going into the food, kindly, as regally as he possibly can. He sits a little bit taller than most of you, but not much.
Marisol's boring a hole into her empty plate, just casually scraping the fork across it as soon as Captain entered.
So, Captain,
Mm-hmm.
are the questions we're allowed to ask you about before or after the meal? It wasn't entirely clear, but I didn't really feel the need to bother everyone with that question.
He smiles and just it kind of swallows the bite of bread that he's got and says, "Out of respect, I may ask you allow me to eat first and to answer any of the questions you have." "Well, to a certain extent. I also need to turn in so that I can relieve Miss Nakia."
All right, I will eat. I'll be waiting outside, I guess,
Will one of you send for him?
I assume I will be milling about anyways. I assume I'll see him. I'm gonna prestidigitate my plate so it's clean, and then I hand it off to lady.
Love is her name.
Love.
And she says, "Well, there's a gentleman to the plate away from you."
Sachet out.
So you guys somewhat conspicuously watch the captain, and he eventually finishes up his kind of empties off his plate, scraping it with the makeshift knife. Swallows the last bite and says, "You did wonderfully," and passes the plate over to her. Says, "Thank you, Captain. Will you be staying?"
I was gonna say, and Donnie would be surreptitiously watching, but just starting to ready like empty dishes and stuff, and look for a place to start washing them up.
The captain will say, So, you're obviously quite interested in learning a little bit about the ship, or me, or both. Um, shall we above deck, or would you rather stay in the mess?
Marisol leaps. Above deck is much more airy and beautiful. Nicer views too. Very awkward smile crosses her face.
Alright. Alright. After you, milady.
There's a quick flush on Marisol's cheeks. She's not making eye contact with anyone in the room as she gets up and leaves first.
And then you all follow Marisol, do you?
I better fucking not, is all I can say.
Not at all.
You stay behind.
Oh, yes, she does.
Okay. Beltris, you following?
Nah, she's gonna turn in.
Okay. And Larkin is gonna stay with Roman, then. So it's just Marisol and Donnie who are going up with the captain. As you go to the above deck on the bow, he kind of settles it on a barrel at the bow of the ship. Kind of looks a little bit at the sails as if he's inspecting them from a distance, puts his hands behind his head and just kind of leans back against it. And you can see kind of the breeze kind of gently pull his hair forward on his shoulders. You notice the night sky is clear. You can see all of the stars, including the tears of Faerûn, and the moon, which is definitely starting to grow a little bit whiter. It's waxing a little bit more. And he settles back and he says, "Well, I think because of the loading, I might actually be almost done for the night. I could probably spend a bit of time here with your ladies, though. What were you hoping to learn?"
Willing to divulge, as I said before, stories of your travels must be absolutely fascinating.
Like maybe why you became a captain or set out on the sea.
Oh, I've shared that story a few times, I suppose. I could do the same again. Well, are you familiar with the country known as Mulhorand?
Sorry, was that a question or?
It was. Are you familiar with Mulhorand?
Player is. I don't think the character is. Gives a
Roll-
confused look and shakes her head.
Roll a history if you want to see if you do.
Sure, why not?
I'm going to safely assume that I don't. I lived a very sheltered life.
Fair enough. So, you know of Mulhorand mostly because you are familiar with the slave trade that used to exist in Mulhorand, but slaves are now viewed differently in Mulhorand, although you don't necessarily know exactly how they're viewed differently. They're still called slaves, but they're not treated like slaves. And so you know Mulhorand only in so much as that they stopped bringing people to and from Mulhorand to Melvant. You also know it's a bloody long distance away. And seeing the recognition in your eyes, well, that is the city that I'm from. I did not grow up wealthy. I'm still not really all that wealthy, but when you're on the sea, you sure certainly feel like you are. I ended up needing to stow away, as I did not like what life was laid out before me while I was there. And so I stowed away on this very ship. It's seen some great care from some fantastic bosun, but it has been with me for my entire life on the seas. And I have no want for anything larger, certainly nothing smaller. But it's been a very pleasant life. Spent through a few squalls, through a few unique visitors from the depths and from above. But for the most part, it's been a wonderful journey. I started actually learning under Captain, by the name of Captain Dazazan, who was not unlike you, and as he gestures to you, Indani. As a matter of fact, there might actually even be some relation there with how similar you two look to a certain extent. However, not likely. He also hailed from Mulhorand. My second captain did not. My second captain actually originally hailed from Waterdeep. But when I had my opportunity, when Captain Alaric retired about 4 or 5 years ago, I snapped up the chance. And so far, the crew and I have done well together. And we don't seem to see a lot of changeover. So we've been together for most of us, the past 6 years.
Forgive my ignorance. Are there many people like me from this place where you come from?
Indeed, it's mostly humans and tieflings there. The occasional dark elf, like your friend below. But those are the main component, the main population of the city from which I hail, Geldaneth.
Very much love to see it sometime.
Well, perhaps you'll have that opportunity. We are going quite far south in the end. There's also, I guess I should also be clear that the reason why we travel south is I take shore leave in Cormyr, just at Cedar Spoke, if you've ever heard of it, in the Guthmere Forest. I have a colleague there that I return to on an annual basis.
Well, if during this shore leave, as you call it, you'd be so kind as to perhaps show me around a little, I would very much love to see these places, as I grew up where there was no one like me.
Indeed, there aren't many of those who descend from the hellish depths in this area, and almost all of them are misunderstood. I sometimes forget that. I suppose that's why I got along so well with Love, is because she has done wonderful things for our crew, while never belying anything of ill blood to a single soul in her life. She truly lives up to her name, as I imagine many do. But you don't go by a virtue name. You go by almost an elvish name.
I'm sorry, I think I only caught half of that.
Damn it.
There was many go by elvish name.
Okay, yeah, he's saying you don't go by a virtue name like many tieflings do. He's saying you're going by an elvish name.
When I say I grew up in a place where there were not many like me, what I truly mean is there was only me.
Oh, I see. Well, that can come with its own challenges for certain. You're among friends on our ship.
So it would seem, which I can tell you I greatly appreciate.
And you do seem to hail from many others who live north of Melvant, but not those who live in Melvant. I must admit, I did not expect to see a half-orc enter my ship today.
Sorry, was that me? Because I think you
Yes.
cut out if you were saying half
Oh
orc.
my gosh, what's going on here? So,
I did hear orc, so I'm gonna assume
yes,
it was you.
yeah, it was talking to you. I don't see
Oh,
many half-orcs come on my ship.
Marisol blinks for a minute, having been spending the past minute studying Andani, and assumes a pleasant enough smile at the captain. Oh, yeah, we're not exactly prolific anywhere, I think, other than many arrows, but it is what it is, and looking to find some more of my people, actually.
Well, we very well may find some more like you. As I said to your friend here, though, we're all friendly here. We don't want much challenge. Indani and Marisol, can you please roll for me a perception check? Okay, Indani, can you roll one for me as well, please? Haha. Okay. So, Marisol, you are totally enraptured with the captain. And
I'm okay with that.
therefore you don't see a lot of other things happening around you. However, Indani, for a couple of moments while he's talking to Marisol and you're slightly irritated perhaps that's the case, you look up to the sky just for a brief moment, almost as if rolling your eyes. And in doing so, you happen to notice that some of the stars flicker out for a little bit in the distance. But then you realize that it's not the stars flickering out, that there's some sort of a dark shape floating out in front of them and blocking their light out from view.
And noticing this, she will carefully stand with her eyes fixed on where she had seen that and just quietly, this may be my first time at sea, but that does not seem quite normal.
And the captain will look immediately following your vision, look out there, and kind of squint his eyes, and then shout out to, let's see here. Hang on, I gotta check something out here real quick before I do this. Yep, okay. And then shout out to, shout out across the ship. Nakia! Starboard! And looks out, you look, you kind of hear her shout, Starboard! Hi, Captain, ready! And he says, you're right, there is something there that's not supposed to be. You might want to go below decks.
I believe that is very wise advice.
And he immediately
We shall
stands.
Gently tap Marisol on the shoulder to sort of get her attention to start moving back towards the stairs.
Okay, and
Minute of hesitation, but she'll follow.
And immediately the captain shouts out, "Bosun, helm!" and starts just shouting out commands. And you can see some of the crew kind of jump up from underneath, from below decks. Master Carver, the Goliath lady, immediately runs up to the helm. Miss Nakia comes running towards you guys a little bit, looking out towards starboard. It says, "Yep, that don't belong." And then you can see her finger follow, and as she follows it, you now can all see this large, leathery winged creature lands on the top of one of the masts and screeches down at you. Marisol and Roman, you're below decks, right?
As far as I know.
Okay. Actually, Marisol, would you know this? Who would know this? I'm trying to remember how that would work. Yep, Marisol, you'll recognize this creature as the creature that Tibin turned into.
A black Abishai. Okay.
And that is also where we're going to pause it for the night.
Okay.
Oh my god.
And there you go. Your first at sea combat awaits you next week,
Oh
ladies and gents.
my god.
First night at sea, immediately gets attacked by an old friend.
He's very upset we didn't go after him.
Well-
We literally had no way of going after him.
Not really. But apparently he has come
He flew out
back
to
for
sea.
you. Yeah, apparently he's come back for you. And that's where we're going to call it. So thank you for all those who dealt with the weird sketchiness of the internet. Everybody have a great night.